Good afternoon, everybody. If you're just joining us on IMSA TV, we're bringing the sound and vision from here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park together here. Our countdown to green is over. The time for talking is done. It's now all about the actions. The engines are being fired up as we speak down there on the pit lane. It's been a busy pit walk with the Canadian fans taking the opportunity to get close to the cars and stars of our round of the Continental Tire SportsCar Challenge, the Canadian Tire Motorsport 120. Just up the 401 from Toronto, Bowmanville, the nearest town, and this historic venue. 10 corners to challenge the teams and drivers. Undulating circuit that has changed in its layout not at all since it has challenged since it was laid down and challenged people from Formula 1 down over on 2 and 4 wheels. This is a circuit that demands respect, and it pays high dividends for those who are prepared to take it on. The drivers love it because they feel that they can make a difference. Jeremy Shaw is alongside me to the right. Elio Castroneves, Juan Montoya, never been here before this weekend, and Elio in particular, he just can't stop smiling and talking about this place and saying how cool he thinks all the guys are who drive here full time.
He had a big crash yesterday. I was just having lunch half an hour ago. He tapped me on the shoulder, came up behind, beaming from ear to ear. He said, "I love this place." That's despite having that big crash yesterday. Yeah, it's a real challenge around here. Elio says his word is commitment. I mean, that is the word here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. These corners are so fast, and if you don't have total confidence in yourself and your car, then you're not going to go fast here. And you don't get that confidence instantly. You have to build up to it.
Yeah, that is very true. Even if you drive around here in a relatively quick road car, you instantly have to have respect for this place. There's, in some places, more runoff than there used to be, but certainly down the long back straight, which isn't a straight, it's got a couple of humps and a couple of little kinks in it as well, the Andretti straight. Any mistakes there, there's not even a car's width between the edge of the circuit and the unforgiving guardrails, and that leads in to one of the fastest and most demanding corners in any form of motorsport. We've got a couple here, turn 8 and turn 2. Turn 8 at the end of the lap, just when you've had that little bit of rest down the back straight. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, it is, and you come over that crest there, the final crest toward turn 8. The car kind of goes light over that crest and then settles down, and then you've got to turn into the corner. It is just a wonderful place for racing, and for spectators here, well, it's some of the best in North America.
And dropping off the edge of the world at turn 2, down into that dip. All right, there's no grass on the outside now. That's been paved off. There's a little green line there so that we can see where the edge of the circuit is, so guys get a sight line. But you're turning in completely blind under that bridge there, and you've got to just hope that the car is going to hang on.
Yeah, most of the corners here are blind, aren't they? It's a remarkable racetrack. Even turn 1, you come over that little crest in there, you've got to be completely committed through there. It's a fabulous challenge.
Drivers who come here seldom only come here once. They want to come back. On paper, if you just look at the outline of the track, you think, it's not that difficult, but the nuances and the courage that you need to attack some of these corners that have, well, as I say, tested the very best in the world down through the history of this circuit. Under new ownership for a few years now, there's been big changes in the infrastructure, but the atmosphere that we come to and the enthusiasm from the fans in this part of the world, and indeed the personality of the track itself and how it races, Jeremy, that, thank goodness, hasn't changed.
You know, since Mr. Fidani and Ron Fellows have taken over ownership of this place, it's just going exponentially better, it seems, every year. There's a huge jump right away, and it does get better. They put so much heart and soul into this place, and it's a much better experience for fans, for particularly for corporate as well, people coming here. But anybody coming here now, it's a much better experience all around. The whole facility has been much improved.
Not easy to drive this track, not easy to drive it well and consistently, and that's what we always talk about in endurance racing. 2 hours on the clock. We'll come round to the green flag this time around. It's going to be a very quick one. We quite often don't have we don't always, should I say, have yellow flags here. We have had full green flag races. If you want to get in touch with us here in the IMSA Broadcast Centre, it's at IMSA Radio on Twitter. 90.7 FM around the track, around the world on IMSA Radio, RS2 and IMSA TV. All of the endurance racing community together, side by side. Alex Premat in the dark red Mercedes has got Pat Gallagher to his left as they come now out of the final corner. We're waiting for the green flag. It's in the air. Great jump by Gallagher. He gets the run down to the first corner, and the Fords look like they're trying to mug the Mercedes round the outside. The Audi having a little look as well. That's a great start in the 39. The dark black, the sort of dark grey and green Tyler McQuarrie car has dropped into third position, and it looked to me as though Gallagher had got a bit of a jump there. Yes, he did, and he's pulled away 3 or 4 cars lengths. Everybody else streaming down through turn 2. Bit of a gap further back. 1 or 2
Russell Ward,
Russell Ward getting a bit sideways, dropping a Continental tyre onto the dirt there. But generally speaking, so far, and I hope I haven't spoken too soon as they come into the braking area for turn 5.
Don't say it. Right. Yeah, it was a great start by Patrick Gallagher, but now all of a sudden there is that Mercedes right on him. When it went into turn 3, the Ford Mustang had about a 4 or 5 car length lead. No longer. They're coming on now onto the Mario Andretti straight. This uphill climb. The Ford's going to inch away a little bit here. Alex Premat will be kicking himself for not making a better start to this race.
Also coming through at the moment, the 76 Matt Plum Mclaren, the dark grey and fluorescent red car, just can't make the pass going into turn 8. Second place Pat Gallagher, second place Alex Premat just couldn't make it happen. He's going to have to try and put some pressure on that new leader. 76 has gone through though, made up a position on the Owen Trinkler Mercedes, so that will drop Owen down, I think 7th position as they go through past us this time, down into the first corner. Trinkler now has pressure from behind. Martin Barkey in the white and racing stripes of the Ford Mustang. And let's not forget that ahead of him, Matt Plum is the brother of Owen Trinkler in that Mercedes, number 46, and the Mercedes is going to lose another position here as Barkey pulls out to the right hand side under the Chevrolet bridge, down through turn 4 into the compression at the bottom of the hill before they climb up towards the 2 right-handers at the start of turn 5 complex. That's the Moss Corners. And Owen Trinkler has managed to hang on at the front of the field. Pat Gallagher is not getting away in the blue and white Ford Mustang GT4. Third place looking very dangerous at the moment. Tyler McQuarrie in the 39 Audi with Scott Maxwell, who always looks very dangerous. He's always looking for a pass in the grey, white and blue Ford. So 3 Fords in the top 5, Mercedes and Audi splitting them up at the moment. Yeah,
Nate Stacey hanging there too, and right behind him now is that number 76 car. That's Matt Plum. And that number 76 car always gets off to a hot start. Last weekend it was Paul Holton who jumped from nowhere to somewhere. He made up about 10 positions. Unfortunately, it was a bit too much alacrity at the start. He got a drive-through for a jump start. But this time around, Matt Plum made up a couple of positions on that Compass Racing McLaren on the first lap.
Yeah, he's about 10 car lengths away from the 5 that are disputing the lead at the moment. The chrome silver Mustang in 5th position at the moment, the back of that little group that's trying to break away. It's good stuff from Alex Premat in the Mercedes-Benz. Paul Sitter holding on to Pat Gallagher in the leading Ford.
Fastest lap last time around was set by 2 cars actually. The 3rd place car of Tyler McQuarrie, that's the Audi car number 39, and the 6th place McLaren of Matt Plum, as we just talked about, flying up from the 8th position up into 6th.
Let's talk about some of the other classes as the GS cars flowed through on this, their 3rd time onto the Mario Andretti straight. TCR, Britt Casey Jr. from pole position in the number 77 Audi. It's all Audis in TCR this weekend. The Volkswagen didn't make the trip north of the border. The 77 Compass 360 car, the shop just down the highway at Toronto, coming into turn number 8 now. These TCR cars very quick indeed through the fast corners. great to watch around here. Michael Johnson in second place ahead of Rodrigo Sales in third. 77, 54 and 74, the top three in TCR, coming to complete this lap into the final corner now for that 77 car. No, excuse me, he's on the other side of the circuit, just going on the Champion Bridge. My apologies, I told you that car was quick. He's covered half a lap in the time I was looking down the times. Meantime, in ST, it is the 81, the Bimmer World BMW, coming off a win at Watkins Glen less than a week ago. And once again, that car qualifying very, very well. Looks super well sorted through the twisty stuff and the bumps around here. And he leads the Mini number 37, Nick Norenberg, then Max Faulkner, then McLaren in the 73 car. So it's BMW Mini. Good start from Max Faulkner. Has got the Porsche up into third position, that number 21 car. Back at the front of the field. Premat deciding now, as the temperatures come up in the Continental tyres, that means the pressures will come up as well. He's going to put a bit of pressure on the leader. He's right underneath the rear wing as they come round the final corner now and past the front of the IMSA broadcast booth. Now crossing the line, down towards turn 1. 1 hour, 54 minutes and 15 seconds on the clock as they turn into turn 1. And Premat knows that the Mercedes has a little bit of an advantage through the corners. It's lighter car than the Mustang, and that's where he's got to make the advantage count. Tyler McQuarrie hanging on beautifully. Premat with the fastest lap of the race last time around, gets it down to a 25.415, and a lot of that coming in the last sector, where he was able to carry a little more speed through the corners at the end of the lap. Leading two, just pulling away for a moment from Tyler McQuarrie. In third, he's got a little gap, maybe a car's length, maybe a car and a half on Scott Maxwell. What a servant to motor racing Scott Maxwell has been. Proudly from this part of the world, from Canada, and he has been a role model, Jeremy, for so many Canadian road races. Yeah, you're right, in and out of the car, just a class act all around. There's Alex Premat kind of looking to the inside more though to defend, I think, from the Audi of Tyler McQuarrie is there in third place. You can see that how quick particularly that Mercedes is through the twisty bits here. It's right up onto the tail of Patrick Gallagher coming through the final corner. Heck of a battle going on behind that lead now, 3 with Maxwell in the Ford, Nate Stacey in the Ford, Matt Plum in the McLaren number 76, Owen Trinkler in the Mercedes, and Martin Barkey in the number 80. That's the white Ford, and I think that Russell Ward is getting on the back of that as well. So I reckon we've got probably 4th down to 9th or even 10th, with Jeff Mosing not that far back, pretty much line astern. As the, in fact, as I say that now, the top 5 are coming back together again. This is nip and tuck. We've not got into traffic yet. We're on lap number 6 and still clear air ahead of Patrick Gallagher, and he'll be breathing a sigh of relief for that at the moment, because there are 5 cars battling for the lead. And then from 6 down, Matt Plum in that 76 McLaren has got the rest of the GS field pretty much line astern behind him. Brilliant, isn't it? And in ST, the leading BMW has romped away at the front. He's got 8 seconds. More than that, 12 seconds over the rest of the field, but the other 4 cars absolutely nose to tail. Yeah, side-by-side action. Here comes that white number 80 that I was talking about. Martin Barkey coming down into turn 8. He's going to try and go Buffalo Gals round the outside. Owen Trinkler has to take a bit of curb on the inside. He's fighting hard, but he's not going to be able to hold that one off. And that is a position made up by Martin Barkey. That puts him into 7th position. Trinkler right there gets a great run. Oh, but here comes Ward. Russell Ward got an even better run. We'll go down the inside. It's Mercedes on Mercedes, AMG on AMG through turn 1. Very close indeed. Big bump at the apex there. And now there's 3 Mercedes disputing 8th position as it is now, and that's Trinkler, Ward and Mosing. Check that. It's Ward, Trinkler and Mosing, because Russell Ward in the Windward HTP Mercedes-Benz, the silver and blue machine, has gone through and taken that position. Gallagher by 0.2 of a second. Ford still leads from Mercedes, Audi, Fords, McLarens, more Fords, and then there are 3 Mercedes making up the top 10.
Yeah, how cool is it? So three different cars are in the top 3, the Ford, Mercedes, the Audi, with those other 2 Fords clinging on there. But it's a great battle between those 2. I'm sure if Alex Premack could get past, he'd probably pull away, but getting past is much easier said than done.
Had to have got a better start. Needed to come up with some kind of plan. He was. We were talking to him earlier on in the weekend and he was saying how we were trying to work out how he could get a clean run down to the first corner. Actually, ultimately did very well to hold on to second place with Tyler McQuarrie and making a very good start in the Audi, and Scott Maxwell in the number 15 Ford right there as well. So Martin Barkey has made up a position in the MBRP white and black machine going down to the first corner. This is one of the new GT4 Ford Mustangs, Multimatic, another Canadian-based company, leading the race with the number 8 car. 4th, 5th and 7th with similar cars. And we've barely had 10 minutes of racing, Jeremy, and it's been absolutely full on, full attack, full strength.
Yep.
Just what we expect from the Continental Tire Sports Car Championship.
Just what we expect indeed, and it's fascinating to watch these cars at the front of the field. Interesting to look at the weight of the cars. The Ford Mustang in the lead, it weighs 1,515 kilograms. The Mercedes behind it is 1,425, so that's 90 kilograms. Better part of 200 pounds. Well, it is, it's 200 pounds. That's a huge differential, and as this race goes along, the key for the Ford Mustang drivers is to make sure they don't abuse or over-abuse their Continental tyres.
Premack having to defend into turn 8. That's uber fast right-hander at the end of the Mario Andretti straight. He does it. Tyler McQuarrie pushing to the left, then to the right, trying to unsettle the Alex Premack ahead of him, former Audi prototype and works driver. Huge amount of experience. He's another first-timer. Premack is another first-timer here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. And again, you can tell the first-timers because they're walking around with these ridiculous grins on their face every time they get out of the car.
That's exactly right, isn't it?
And they want to sit down and talk about it. Their eyes are the size of dinner plates, but in a good way. They just love this track. Premack's doing a pretty good job here, I reckon, to hang on. We saw. I mean, he's got the pace in 1 lap. He had the pole position, slight mistake going through the first part of 5 there, but he's got away with it. And now we've got traffic ahead, and this is where he needs to be close to the leader to see if he can take advantage of any fumbles. The 3 minis working together. It's like a remake of the Italian job on the back straight there. And through goes Gallagher. He blasts through. Premack with the fastest first sector of the race of any car. But now he's in traffic, and now he's in trouble because McQuarrie is right there with him. And here comes Scott Maxwell, and behind Scott Maxwell is Nate Stacey. So the Fords are massing. Great manoeuvre down the inside of the 21 Max Faulkner Porsche, coming into the final corner by that dark red Mercedes. And here comes Maxwell on McQuarrie. The 2 darker coloured cars going in to turn number 1 past the ST battle there for second, third, 4th and 5th, with the BMW some way up the road. And McQuarrie for a moment has had to concentrate on defending his 3rd place rather than attacking 2nd, and that's allowed Alex Premack just to pull out a little bit of a gap. Yeah,
what a great job Patrick Gallagher did there. A little bit of luck on his side because he was able to get past that knot of cars before they got up to turn 8, whereas the pack behind him were kind of had to shuffle their way through as they went through that corner, which is not easy to do.
Always difficult for the leader. You hit the traffic first. You're the one that has to try and make the pass. You've got the most to lose in some respects. In TCR, it's still Rick Casey Jr. in the 77 Compass Racing Audi that leads from Michael Johnson by about 4.5, 5 seconds now. And Devin Jones in the Bimmer World BMW, 22 seconds up the road.
Yeah,
like the afterburners.
Yeah, absolutely right. And that last lap by Patrick Gallagher, by the way, our race leader, it cost him only 0.3 of a second getting past that traffic. And that is why all of a sudden there was 2.4 seconds from first to second as they came across the line to complete that ninth lap, now 10 laps in the books.
Matt Plum is coming under a bit of pressure as he goes across the line now, and the pressure is being applied by Martin Barkey. That's the battle for 6th and 7th. The 76 dark grey and fluorescent red McLaren sitting low to the ground. The Mustang much more upright, but it's got a big V8 engine right up front and a lot of horsepower and a lot of torque. Behind them, the 33 is Russell Ward, and he's having a think about where he might be able to make a manoeuvre. Oh, comes up the inside of Barkey as Barkey goes wide right at the top of the hill at 3. Beautiful manoeuvre from Russell Ward. Has to close the door now and gets a little love tap. Bit more than that from Barkey. As he closed the door, he had cleared the Ford. And lovely opportunist manoeuvre, and the 46 of Owen Trinkler's got to try and do the same now. The Ford a little bit quicker to its top speed on the straights, but I think Russell Ward, with what, 2 or 3 cars lengths there, has got enough of advantage to be able to hold on at turn 8 as they go down the back straight. Meantime, Prema has held the gap between himself and Tyler McQuarrie. That's the 92 Mercedes, the dark red Mercedes, and the fluorescent green and grey Audi R8. Just the one Audi R8 GT4 in the competition this weekend. Looking much more of a standard road car than some of the other cars out there, but it is fully prepared to GT4 regulations. Doesn't have perhaps some of the extreme aero and wider accoutrements of some of the other cars. Strict regulations involving what you can and can't do with these cars, of course, to make it even across GT4, which is a global formula. So these cars race all over the world. These types of cars race all over the world. In fact, there's a 24-hour race going on right now at Portimao, with some of the rest of our team out there watching that at the moment, and GT4 cars are competing there too.
Alex Prema is trying to pull away from third place and close in on the race leader Patrick Gallagher, who's done a really nice job at the front of the field. A change for second position in ST. It's the Minis have changed plates, or actually 2 of the Minis have moved past Max Faulkner in the number 21 Boarded Motion Porsche Cayman. So it's car number 52, the youngster Colin Mullen, just 16 years of age, who's up into second place, albeit already inside 10 laps, nearly a half a minute behind Devin Jones. Devin
Jones has set sail in that BMW. He's had a really, really good run. He's the battle for the lead coming through the final corner, and Devin Jones just being lapped, in fact, as into the pit lane comes Scott Maxwell. Yeah. Maxwell out of that fight for 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th position, and this is an early pit call for Shea Adam, our Continental Tire pit lane reporter. Weren't expecting this, Shea.
No, and neither was the team. They didn't have the pit board ready to put down, but they have scrambled into position and have gotten ready. They've got the fuel hose, which they will plug into the back of the car before doing anything else. They are putting the car up on the air jack. Scott is revving the engine. Tires are not spinning because the car is not engaged in gear, but there are mechanics just peering under the car, and they're looking at the right rear. Oh, man. Scott Maxwell, who was looking for a really good weekend because his son is go-kart racing this weekend on the track just a little bit away from here, about 100 feet, as a matter of fact, beyond the entrance. The air jack has come out. The refueling has finished. They're lowering the car back down, and let's see if he's going back behind the wall. I think he might be. They're saying, yep, back to the garage for Scott Maxwell. Oh.
Yeah, you can see there was no urgency there from the crew at all once they'd pulled the air jack out, and looks like it's going to be the end of the day. It goes behind the wall to Scott Maxwell. What a disappointment for him.
Driveline problem, maybe.
He's able to drive it away.
He's driving it away, absolutely. Sure. Matt Plum goes past our ST Bimmer World BMW leader. Matt Plum now with the 33 of Russell Ward right behind him. Russell having got past and held the position from Martin Barkey. That promotes him to 6th position. This is a really good run by the 33 and by Russell Ward. Relatively inexperienced driver, certainly at this level, and has been mentored expertly by Damien Faulkner, his team mate, the Irishman, who is one of those drivers who we term a plug-and-play performance accessory. Not just behind the wheel of the car, And because that's not enough to be quick behind the wheel of the car, Jeremy, you've got to be able to help to guide and the teammate in the right direction, help them with the data, help them where they need to go faster, sometimes even play a little bit of a psychologist out there. And this team, with the young Russell Ward and the experience of Damien Faulkner, has really started to pay dividends, and Russell's driving is coming on leaps and bounds, and his confidence is as well, and that's also part of Damien's job as well.
Well, that's right. Anyway, he qualified 7th here, qualified 4th, I think, at Mid-Ohio, didn't he, Russell? And he's certainly done a fine job. He's been quick all weekend. He was fastest sector of all through Sector 1, I think it was, this morning in practice. So, yeah, he is making big strides.
It's important, isn't it, that the driver with a little less experience feels comfortable with the teammate and can trust what they're saying in terms of setting the car up, etc. And Faulkner has a huge amount, Damien Faulkner has a huge amount of experience, raced right up to, well, he raced over here in North America, didn't he, in Indy Lights a few years ago, and actually was pretty hot property for a while.
Yep.
The 15 car is back on the pit lane and is, oh, excuse me, that's pictures from earlier on that I'm seeing in front of me. So that car has stayed behind the wall. Meantime, McLaren versus BMW, climbing up to the top of the hill at turn 4, turn 3 and 4. And the Optima Batteries car going through there. That was the James Clay machine who went past the, that was the Corey Fergus 69 car that he's gone by. So that car's dropped a couple of positions because Corey went across the line just on, I think, on the in the outskirts of the top 10, didn't he?
Yeah, just he was 11th, just one position, I think, to the number 82 car, which is started much further back than we would have expected. That's the car that currently lies second in the points championship here, and only on goal difference on the fact that the other car has won one race and it yet hasn't.
I think you're allowed.
Two leaders have actually nose to tail, by the way.
I think you're allowed to call it goal difference with the FIFA Football World Cup on at the moment. Now, Jeremy, you pointed out to our viewers and listeners right at the start the difference in weight between the Mustang and the AMG GT4 Mercedes, and said just how careful the drivers have to be, particularly if we get long green flag periods. And we have had 23 minutes almost of green flag running at the start of the race, and all of a sudden it looks as though Premat's car is beginning to come alive. What was over 2 seconds came down to just on 2, then 1.8, and now it's less than a second as Premat has got target acquired. Now, closing the gap is one thing, but manufacturing, scheming, planning a place to pass is something else. Into the pit lane, the 69 car, and there's a, oh, not into the pit lane, he's gone through. It's a left front tyre issue for the 69 of Corey Fergus. Now, I wonder if that was happening earlier on, but he's missed the pit lane and he's halfway around the lap, so he's going to have to cruise back. And how slow is slow enough? It's never slow enough is the answer to that. And he's going to have most of a lap, and the leaders will be bearing down on him, and Premat's closed in again. It was 0.8 of a second. It's now just under 0.6 of a second as they go through turn 1. And this is exactly what we talked about, Jeremy. This is how the different strengths and weaknesses of the different types of motor cars that are racing here, balanced for performance, yes, but they still have different characteristics.
They do, and it's, I tell you what, this MIA team has absolutely no luck at all this season. Everything that can, well, same last year actually, anything that can go wrong seems to go wrong. It's really such a shame for a very, very talented group of people and drivers. Corey Fergus and Jesse Lazaire, both champions in other categories as well, so we know they're quick, we know the team is good, but unfortunately, golly, just one thing after another.
I've got a feeling that was the car that was on pole here 12 months ago.
Correct.
With Chris Green driving, Shea reminding me of that. I would like to say I'd remembered that myself, but I had help from a little voice in my head that sounded very much like Shea Adam, the Continental Tire pit lane reporter. Out at the front of the TCR class, these extraordinary looking sedans and hatchbacks, front-wheel drive, 2-litre, big wide arches, very reminiscent, if you're of an age, very reminiscent for me from the Group 5 sports and touring cars with those wide arches bolted onto them. A very cost-effective way to go racing, and Britt Casey Jr. is doing a great job for Compass 360 and for his teammate Tom Long. He is up to 15th position overall and is the sharp end of 20 seconds, in fact more than that, ahead of Michael Johnson in second in the 54 car, which is the red and white and blue car, just coming underneath the Mobil 1 banner on the Mario Andretti straight at the far side of the circuit from where we are. Third position is the Rodrigo Sales number 74 Audi, and he's another 5 seconds further back. In the pit lane, a great job from Corey Fergus to get that 69 McLaren back to service.
Chip off the old block and then off the old block again, because his father and grandfather, both drivers in their own right, they are changing the left side tires, and the left front was the trouble one. Are they doing the right sides? Yes, they are going to change the right sides as well, waiting on the fuel. Didn't need a full load, so now they are losing time changing the right side tires as they work on the right rear and bring a sticker off the wall for the right front, making sure that the suspension is okay. Very smart, very heads up of the tire changer on this car. Only one gun allowed over the wall because it's a center locking wheel nut instead of the 5 lug nuts that you find on all the other GS cars. Now he's been cleared to leave. They're giving a thumbs up, but Corey just making sure that everything is okay. Now he does go back out. So that is a lap down, is it not, John?
Yes, at least a lap down. Yes, 2 laps down now as the battle for the lead went across the line. I think Alex Premat got by, but Gallagher has just got back up the outside going through turn 1, but no confirmed going through turn 2. It is Premat who's got through, got a great run out of the final corner.
I didn't see it because it's just out of my view. I think he might have dived for the inside in the final corner,
right.
And he came out of the final corner ahead, did Premat, but the power of the Ford took him just ahead by 0.001 as they crossed the timing stripe.
Yeah, Gallagher was back in the lead.
Indeed,
yes.
As they crossed the timing stripe, he was. But by the time they got through turn 1, the Mercedes able to keep the momentum and able to take the lead. Great pass by Alex Premat. Let's have a look, see what happened.
Squeezed him down a little bit there, Alex. That was a bit naughty, but didn't want to let the Ford get too far ahead so that he could sweep around the outside. Did he stay on the track? He did. Very fair driving from Pat Gallagher, who didn't push the Mercedes out of the track limits. Now what we'll see now, Jeremy, is the ebb and flow here, where the Mustang will close in on the faster, longer straights, and the Mercedes will start eking out a lead on the tighter switchbacks of the corners. And the question is, which one's going to be the more important? We have had 28 minutes of racing out of the 1 hour and 20 that we've got. Traffic ahead is the ST battle. 37 of Nate Norenberg goes another lap back to the GS leaders. Then it's Max Faulkner in the ST Cayman through turn 2, and Premat pulls away at this point on the circuit, halfway around the track, but then on the back straight the Mustang muscles its way back towards the back of that dark red Mercedes-Benz. Tyler McQuarrie's only another 2.5 seconds further back. Nate Stacey 1.7 seconds further back from third. So 92 leads 8, 39 Audi from 60, the Ford from 76, the McLaren of Matt Plum, then Russell Ward in the 33. Was a massive dive down the inside at the final corner, and a proper block pass. Got in there, stood on the brakes at the apex. That, I tell you what, if that had been Stadium Supercross, you'd have been proud of that one.
I figured it was probably that, because from my vantage point, I can't quite see after it's got crane round the corner to see the corner. I wasn't able to do that, but just from the relative speed they were carrying out through the corner, I figured out what had happened. A great pass there by Premat. Took his opportunity perfectly.
And getting it stopped at the apex and not running wide was really important to that pass. Gallagher fighting it back as best he could, but the lead has gone. Shea Adam, can you update us please with a Continental Tire pit lane report on the problems for the number 15 Ford. Scott Maxwell coming in out of 4th position a couple of 3 laps ago.
It's an issue with the header. They're going to replace it back behind the wall and then come back out. It's already been a very testing weekend for that crew. The Multimatic guys lost an engine that comprehensively gave up. It was brand new coming into this weekend. That was in the open test day on Thursday. Put another engine into the car, and now they're having issues with that one as well. But they are going to come back out and give Chase Briscoe some laps around Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, because he will be coming back here in a couple months' time for the NASCAR Truck Series.
Ah, yes, good point. Very good point indeed. Leader now coming through the TCR field and goes past the number 10, the black, blue and white Audi. Has that allowed a little bit of a gain by Patrick Gallagher? All of a sudden, Jeremy, it's gone out to 2 seconds. This is Premat pulling the pin, waiting for those Continentals to come in. We're 20 laps in here. These cars, the Mercedes, do take a little longer time to bring the Continentals up to optimum temp and pressure, and as the cars burn the fuel, they get a very nice balance in these cars, and that's how they set them up. And now Premat has really got to think about driving as if every lap's a qualifying lap, really, hasn't he?
He absolutely has, you're right, and that's exactly what he's, I think, doing right now, and he's pulling away at the front.
Russell Ward under pressure from Owen Trinkler down into turn 1. That's the battle for 6th and 7th, internecine Mercedes battle. Not the same teams, though, in fairness. Matt Plummer's just got ahead a little bit in traffic. Russell Ward in behind the number 52 Mini. Colin Mullen in that car. That's the bright yellow Mini. Premat will be loving this. He'll be loving it. And you know, we talked in our keys to race, Jeremy, about patience of where to pass people. There's also has to be a bit of patience from the drivers to get their car into its optimum state when you can start making your move forward. And Premat's done that very well. It would have been easy to try and overdrive that car early on and maybe do himself no good whatsoever, but he didn't.
No, he didn't, and he didn't get frustrated by the fact he was overtaken at the start, which I'm sure must have been particularly galling. So he just had to tuck in behind and wait for his opportunity. He then grasped it brilliantly and is now pulling away. He's using the fact that Mercedes weighs a lot less than the Ford at this stage to run a good consistent pace at the front of the field. He's running the same sort of lap times he was when he was behind the Ford, but it's the Ford that's dropping off its lap time just a little bit. It's only a few tenths of a second.
That's all it needs.
That is all. Yes, exactly.
All it needs. Great block pass into the final corner from Alex Premat. Now let's see.
He would have enjoyed that one.
Oh, the big smile. We've had some great overtaking in this series this year, indeed in all the IMSA series, haven't we? I'm just trying to work out if Tyler McQuarrie is slightly closing in on Patrick Gallagher. No, he's not at the moment. He's 5.5 seconds back and lost about 2 tenths last time around. It'll be ebb and flow in the traffic, in fairness. Big push by Mercedes AMG to get these GT4s into the USA at the end of last year. 7 or 8 cars being supplied immediately into the US and finding their way into various championships. Here in the Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge, we've seen more added through the season. And clearly a formidable racing machine. Just to check the classes for you. ST, Devon Jones now 33 seconds ahead. No, check that. That's at the next car back. And that's not another ST car. That's ahead of Corey Fergus, who's back out after that left front tyre issue. And flying, by the way, Corey Fergus now, trying to make up some time, but better part of 2.5 laps off the lead. So ST is the 81 Bimmer World BMW from the 52 yellow Mini, and that gap now is getting on for, that's 25, yeah, it's still 30 seconds or thereabouts. Then it's a second back to McLaren in the 73 Mini, the red Mini with the black roof. Then Max Faulkner in the number 21 Porsche in 4th position. In TCR, another big lead, not quite as big as that, but Casey Jr. has set sail as well, got the spinnaker up, and 17 seconds to the good on Michael Johnson, who has 11 seconds on Rodrigo Sales, who has 16 seconds or so on the next car back. Let's go down to the pit lane where Shea Adam is with Tom Long.
Tom, the co-driver, Britt Casey Jr., what did you guys feed Britt for lunch? Because he is checked out of this country.
Yeah, he's doing a great job out there. I mean, he put in a stellar qualifying lap. You know, he put the number 77 Trump Audi up front and is keeping it there right now. He's certainly a class act, you know, on the track and off the track. He's got a bright future, but he's just keeping his head down. We're just trying to stay clean and bring this thing to the second stint where maybe I can take it home.
He drove more than half the race last weekend. Are you going to swap it around and take back your half this week?
We'll see. I mean, he certainly did his fair share last week. He did a terrific job. I think he definitely was feeling that at the end. But you know, strategy-wise, we'll just kind of see where the cards lie with the full course yellows and things like that. But yeah, he certainly can get it done.
First time we've seen the TCR cars here. How much fun are they to drive around this track, and what's it been like to try and develop a setup on a track you've never been to?
Yeah, I mean, certainly these cars are glued around this Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. The aero and the grip that this car creates is incredible. I think the TCR platform is fantastic. Audi has done a terrific job with their offering, and it's just really enjoyable to dial these cars in around such a high-speed circuit.
It looks like driving a go-kart on steroids. Good luck for the rest of the race, Tom.
Yeah, thanks very much. Appreciate it.
It looks a lot of fun, those TCR cars. It really does. Battles in the GS class fighting their way through the TCR field now as the lapping is very much underway. We've had more than half an hour, 36 minutes of racing. Prematt leads in the 92 dark red Mercedes-Benz, the AMG GT3. And he's got nearly 4 seconds of a gap now back to Patrick Gallagher, who's holding his own in second place. He's been closed down on the last couple of laps by Tyler McQuarrie. Now got that gap down to under a second and a half. So 92 Ramsey Racing Mercedes AMG leading from the GT4 Ford in second, the number 8 car from Multimatic Motorsports. Then the 39 of Tyler McQuarrie, the Carbon Motorsports Audi R8. Jeff Westphal to get in that car later on in the race. Beautiful afternoon, live coverage in sound and vision from the IMSA Broadcast Centre here at the exit of the final corner, trackside at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park for the 120, the Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge. Jeremy Shaw. There's some very, very good performances going on out there, not least by our man Alexander Prematt at the front of the field, who has paced himself perfectly through this first quarter of the race. Yeah,
a great effort also by Britt Casey Jr. leading that TCR class, the car number 77, but hats off to Michael Johnson. Once again, a brilliant performance by the driver of car number 54. For those of you not familiar with Michael, he's paralysed from the chest down remarkably, drives of course therefore with hand controls. It's just an amazing story. I mean, he just does a magnificent job. Last week to Watkins Glen, he made a fairly leisurely start and had a fair bit of ground to make up, which he did, and was running absolutely with the leaders. Unfortunately, he got held up by a little bit of traffic here in the early stages. He's fallen back a little bit from Britt Casey Jr., but still a really tremendous performance by Michael Johnson in car number 54.
So I presume the car has a set of
indeed
of standard controls as well, because Stephen Simpson doesn't drive with the hands controls, does he?
That's correct.
Yeah, very, very clever. Shea Adam has some good news for Blue Oval fans and for Scott Maxwell fans too.
I just heard a whistle from behind the pit wall, which meant that there was a car approaching, and then I heard the rumble of a mighty Ford engine, which means that Scott Maxwell has re-emerged, and indeed there are the Mustang headlights coming back down the pit lane. So although the chances of a victory are gone for today, Scott Maxwell and Chase Briscoe still going to go out and have a lot of fun around Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. And why would you not? You got a beautiful race car around a great track. Go drive every lap you possibly can.
They're going to have to come back into the pit lane, Shea, because they have had a penalty while they were refueling the car on its first way through. There was some work going on and that is a drive-through in this series. It is Scott Maxwell, as Shea rightly said, who has brought the car back out the pit lane, presumably to see if it's okay. Then he'll have to do his drive-through, and then at some stage he'll hand over to his teammate to get some laps around here.
Big slide there from Martin Barkey, car number 80, who's running in 8th position. Really good run again for the AWA Ford Mustang GT4. That was the car that was qualified on pole last week by Brett Sandberg. It's Martin Barkey who qualified and started the race today. That was a huge slide he came out of here. Don't think he quite lost the position, but he's really under pressure from Jeff Mosing in that number 56. Oh no, it was actually the lap car, I think, of Corey Fergus, but Jeff Mosing isn't too far behind him in car number 56.
We've got a TCR car in the pits. It's Rodrigo Sales. Shea?
It is our championship leader. He's come in for fuel and tires. Now, Kuno Whitmer has raced here before and finished second in 2014. His teammate had put it on pole then, and his teammate today didn't put it on pole, but that's okay because no TCR car has won from pole yet, so Kuno's hoping that pattern continues. The drive time has not yet elapsed, so Rodrigo cannot get out of the car. They've changed the tires, still waiting on the fuel as they are waving the mechanics away. Carl Thompson is from the top of the box. He said, now go, and sent the car back out as the Mustang comes back into service drive-through penalty. And that means that Rodrigo Sales will have a little bit of company out on track when he goes back out the pit lane, which he does now.
Shea Adam is our Continental Tire pit lane reporter. Jeremy Shaw and me, John Hindhaugh, overlooking the final corner from the IMSA broadcast booth. Sound and vision together in perfect harmony and synchronicity from the Canadian Tire Motorsport Part 120. It's this weekend's round of the Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge, part of the IMSA package this weekend. And all of the Continental Tire races this year available live in sound and vision with no geo blocks and no interruptions. Wherever you are in the world, if you're enjoying it here at the track, then remember that in a couple of weeks' time we'll be doing it all again and you'll be able to follow along from Lime Rock Park. Battle for, you mentioned Martin Barkey there, sliding around. He's dropped him back a little bit. Jeff Mosing, who was a couple of seconds behind, is now right up the tailpipes of that white Mustang. In fact, you can't see the McLaren as it, the Mustang hustles out of the turn 5 area. Our leader, meantime, is just crossing the line in front of us, Alexander Premat, with now more than 7 seconds of a lead over Pat Gallagher.
Yeah, who has been closely followed now by Tyler McQuarrie. And not only that, but Nate Stacey is closing in there a little bit in car number 60. About 3 or 4 laps ago, the gap from 3rd to 4th was well over 2 seconds. It's now 1.1 as they came across the line this lap. So he's halved that gap, has Nate Stacey on Tyler McQuarrie, who in turn is closing on Patrick Gallagher.
Russell Ward hanging on there in 6th position, and he's got Owen Trinkler for company. Very, very good drive by Premat. Coming round to lap Ted Giovannis in the replacement number 4 TGM car. The car that Ted raced in, he had a nasty accident, put the back of the car into the tyre barrier coming out of the inner loop at Watkins Glen last weekend. That car unable to be repaired, so a replacement sourced in Detroit, I believe. It was a Robertson Racing car, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And that car just been fettled for the series, for the IMSA series. 1 or 2 detailed changes for the series it had been running in. And that car pressed into duty this weekend. That's the next time we see that number 4 Ted Giovannis car, which has just gone a lap down. Mustang sounds like nothing else.
It's a couple of laps down, actually, number 4 car.
Right, thank you. Now the 39 of Tyler McQuarrie, right in behind its prey. That being the Pat Gallagher number 8, battle for second, really on The gas now down the inside. Gallagher goes a tiny bit wide going up the hill, and they've got Nate Stacey catching them as well. Also in the mix out there is the 15 of Scott Maxwell, although he's many laps down now, of course. It's dropped out of the top 28 positions, which is what we see on our timing screen. Somehow I think that this will be more of a test run for that car in turn 5 at the moment. No chance to pass for the Audi of Tyler McQuarrie on the blue and white Mustang of Patrick Gallagher in second position now, having been passed for the lead a few laps ago. Leader coming past us at the start-finish line now, as the battle for second and third is just exiting turn number 8.
Pretty much got a 3-car battle now for second place.
Yeah, because Nate Stacey is there or thereabouts. The bright pink flash on the back quarters of that Ford Mustang. So it's Audi, Ford, sorry, it's Ford, Audi, Ford. Then Matt Plum's another 4.5 seconds further back, with Russell Ward just closing in on him again that time around by 0.8 of a second. And Owen Trinkler keeping pace with Russell Ward. So there's another little 3 or 4 car battle that's starting to come together, as Patrick Gallagher now has to deal with Ted Giovannis ahead of him in a car that has very similar performance to the one he's in, just perhaps not quite as an accomplished driver, and again meant there's no slight to Ted Giovannis. Bold move from Patrick Gallagher in second to go around the outside, but he pulls it off. Tyler McQuarrie follows him through, and the car looks way more planted. So waiting for, as we're coming up to just on the 45-minute mark, I expect to see people in the pit lane. And Shadam, you've got people in the pit lane.
I've got some friends in the pit lane. This is fun. The number 76 McLaren has come in. That will be Paul Holton jumping in, taking over from Matt Plum. As further down the pit lane, the 4 Ted Giovannis comes in. He is handing over to Guy Cosmo, I think is his name, as we are north of the border, and the slightly French part of Canada, just one province over. So the driver change taking place while the tire change happens on this McLaren. Much like the 69, only one wheel gun allowed because there is one central locking wheel nut. The straps going on right now for Paul Holton, and the window net going up, so a fairly good pit stop here from the Compass Racing guys, just a little bit up the road from their homeland. And this McLaren came into Canada and likes racing here very clearly. The fuel's still going on. That's it for this car as they finish the tire change. The right rear goes on finally, and the Mercedes a little bit further up, it too has had a 4 tire change and a slightly longer stop for the driver change, but the fueling still going on for both cars, so no time lost. Now the McLaren is cleared to leave. Fuel probe is still in for the Mercedes. Now it comes out, and the stoplights are off, and Guy Cosmo is still not moving. There we go. Now he finds gear and starts rolling, but he's rolling very slowly. Now he gets back on, back out. So the 4 had an opportunity to jump ahead of the 76, at least in terms of track position, even though the 4 is down a lap, but does not take advantage of that opportunity. And we also have a wild Kuna Whitmer up on the wall, so the 74 TCR car from Compass will also be coming back in and doing a driver change there. They're ready to unleash the Canadian.
Thank you, Shay. Excellent stuff down there as our Continental Tire pit lane reporter. Now the second place battle is up to that number 4, which is pit lane speed violation for the number 4 that's just been in, taken out by Guy Cosmo. 16 kilometres too fast. That will be a stop and go.
It's not close, is it?
No.
That car's, it's already 2 laps down, unfortunately, though. So Guy is just going to go out there and try and have some fun, which he will. But he's not going to be in contention unless something very bizarre happens for a top position.
Yeah, he'll drive that car to the end right now. Very close call a moment or two ago for Pat Gallagher, who picked the left-hand side, the outside of the track coming through turn 1 as he was going past the 52 Mini, and then was confronted with a TCR car and had to take to the grass. And I'm pretty certain that he put the left-hand side Continentals into the dirt to ensure that he could continue without having to modify his line or lift off. Premat now, Jeremy, 15.5 seconds near enough. Tyler McQuarrie still not able to get past Pat Gallagher, who's doing a great job of defending, not doing anything wrong at all, by the way. Pat Gallagher driving his line, Tyler McQuarrie just unable to fashion some kind of opening. Gets a good run off the bottom of 2. He's going to have to go to driver's right. Oh, it's a touch. There's a touch going up the hill to 3. And here comes the 15 car, many laps down. He's unlapped himself from the battle for second. And Rodrigo Sales back in Shea Adam. I presume that was because he hadn't done his drive time when they brought him in the first time.
He hadn't done his drive time, and they only changed 3 of the 4 Continentals. They didn't get an opportunity to change the right rear on the last stop because the car was done refueling. They put a little bit more fuel in it. They did change that tire, and now the driver change is what's holding them hostage because they're having a little bit of trouble with some of the belts. Now they're doing up the window net. Door is closing, and Kuno Whitmer is cleared to leave, but they probably lost 10 seconds on that driver change, Sean. Load of carbon just sprayed out the bottom of the car. There is some serious damage on that car. Our championship leader in TCR, they dropped it off the air jacks, and all of a sudden all these carbon shards started spraying out the back. It's going straight behind the wall, John.
Oh dear.
Our championship leaders.
Championship leader in TCR. Meantime, second place battle across the line now and down towards turn 1. And it's a 3-way battle now as Nate Stacey has joined Tyler McQuarrie in battling with Patrick Gallagher as they come over the top of the skyline into turn number 2. Scott Maxwell ahead is a couple of laps back, not in that fight. And Gallagher is running out of grip. He can't get the car turned in, but he's driving very, very well indeed to defend his position. The Audi, though, up the inside to the right at turn 3. And over the top to turn 4, and not just 1 but 2 positions lost then for Pat Gallagher as McQuarrie's gone through into second and Nate Stacey goes through to third, and Russell Ward is only 4 seconds further back. Driver time window open, by the way. It has been completed, the 45 minutes for the driving time.
Here comes our race leader onto pit lane.
I was about to say, Jeremy, I'm quite impressed. That car's gone 52 minutes. I was told 47. And that included 2 warm-up laps, 2 formation laps as well. Premat in the pit lane. Shea Adam with this Continental Tire pit lane report as the lead is going to be lost, is it? Just stay with me for a second, Shea.
It will be lost, John, because they are going to do a driver change. Mark Ramsey is getting in now, and they're putting in the seat insert as well as doing fuel, and at the very least 2 new Continental tires because they are changing the right side. Tyler McQuarrie is leading in the Audi as we have a slew of other pit callers. The number 60, the Mustang that won 2 races earlier on this year, is doing a driver change. Kyle Marcelli, who's from Barrie, Ontario, just up the street, is taking over for Nate Stacey. In the number 8, the Mustang that was leading in turn 1 of this race, driver change there as well as Chad McCumbee takes over. And in the number 46, the team TGM Mercedes, there is also a driver change. That would be Owen Trinkler out and Hugh Plum in. The orange Merla racing car has gone back out of the pit lane. Fuel and tires for everybody up and down the pit lane, but they did all 4 tires on the number 92. They did the right sides first, which threw me out. But we're just waiting. It's going to be a battle off the pit lane. Should be the 92 out first, Mark Ramsey. And he is the first one rolling. He will be the first one out.
Justin Piscatel that took the Tangerine Murillo Racing number 65 out, waiting for this 8 Mustang to roll. Patrick Gallagher, as you heard Shea mentioning, this is long, and they've lost position in the pit lane. What did we say in our keys to the race? That you can lose so much ground, and he's been beaten out by at least a couple of Mercedes, I reckon. So he has lost positions there. Careful on the blend line on the way out. And Chad McCumbee is back into the race, but having lost track position. Mark Ramsey then behind the wheel of the Mercedes 39 in the pit lane. The Audi, the dark grey, black and fluorescent yellow, also in. The 82 BMW of James Clay, the 56 Mercedes AMG of Brett Morsing, and who else came in there? The 33 as well, Shea. You've got plenty of takers.
Looks like driver changes across the board, John, as Foss is getting into the number 56 Mercedes. We had a driver change at the Audi. That would be Jeff Westphal getting in. The Stephen Cameron BMW, the number 19, is also in. So that's Greg Leafouche getting in for Ari Balog. And the 33 Mercedes that you mentioned, I believe I saw Damo's yellow helmet getting behind the wheel of that Mercedes, as the 28 RS1 Porsche is now on the pit lane as well. Let's see if they are going to be doing a driver change. Car hits its marks. Yes, Spencer Pumpelly's helmet is there. Yep, that was Damian Faulkner behind the wheel of the 33. So good job for the stop by the Windward Racing crew. And the 82 is now rolling down the pit lane as well. So the Windward guys get out in front of the Audi guys. Very good pit stop from them. And the 82 BMW gets out in front of Foss. The 82 is now Tyler Cook by my reckoning. So a lot of changes going on in the pit lane right now. Look like fuel and tires for everybody, but I'm going to go down to the 33 guys to make sure that they took all 4 tires, because that was a really quick stop.
28 taking fuel is the Porsche, the red, white and black Porsche, and that was Dylan Matterman who came in that car. Driver has already been changed. Jeremy Shaw.
And that means that the Huntsville, Ontario's Martin Barkey will be leading this motor race as he brings the car now onto pit lane, along with Anna Brynjolfsson in car number 7. And it's now 1 hour and 4 minutes to go. So we're not quite to the halfway point in this race, which is going to make it awfully difficult for these guys to get to the end without needing a splash and go or a full course caution.
I reckon they are 15 minutes short.
No, not that far, because we haven't had any caution. So yeah, they've managed to do 57 minutes.
Sorry, the guys who came in first are 15 minutes
yeah,
short.
Certainly Mclaren, number 76 car, that's in trouble. They had actually a little bit slightly larger fuel tank added for this weekend under the balance of performance. Had 3 extra litres, but clearly not enough, because that car once again is one of the first to come onto pit lane.
Great move a couple of laps ago for second position. Tyler McQuarrie pouncing at the top of the hill, having come down through turns 2 and at the top of the hill at 3, going through, and Martin Barkey following him through as well.
Good stop again by Team TGM there.
Very good stop.
To get Owen Trinkler up a position, or perhaps 2.
So I reckon that Mark Ramsey's still leading, but not by much. Kyle Marcelli, now in the 60 car, is in second position. May already have gone through there, with Paul Holton in the McLaren in third, and they're separated by 2.5 seconds. Then Chad McCumbee in the number 8 Ford. What happened to Damien Faulkner? He seems to have lost positions. That car came in 6th place. So was it just a long stop for those guys?
He might have lost a position or 2. I'll let you know. Well, number 77 car hasn't yet pitted, so that's ahead of him.
Right, yes,
so
good
I
point.
think he came out with a net
gain. 28 car that has just taken a penalty from coming in the pit lane. Spencer Pumpelly's taken it out, refueling while on the jack stands. Drive through.
60 car is in the lead though. It's Kyle Marcelli who leads. A really good pit stop by the Roush Performance Core Motorsports team. It's got that vaulted that car from 4th before the pit stops. You might remember right before the pit stops, number 92 car had a huge lead of 18 seconds before the pit stops over a battling number 8, 39 and 60. They were nose to tail before they started their pit stops. The number 60 car, though, great stop by them. They got out ahead of Paul Holton, who's been charging along since making his pit stop quite a long time ago. He is resumed in second ahead of number 8 car. And Mark Ramsey now, look, he's down in 4th position in car 92. Mark Ramsey is a gentleman driver, new to the sport, first full season of racing, so he's going to drop back through the pack after that brilliant first effort from Alexandra Prema. But it's been a fabulous performance for that Ramsey Racing team.
You're listening to 90.7 FM around the track here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, around the world on IMSA Radio and IMSA TV. TCR stops starting, but not for the leader. Britt Casey Jr. is in the top 10 at 7. And in has come second place Michael Johnson. Third place, the Pierre Kleinebing car is still out at the moment. So Stephen Simpson about to be installed into the red, white and blue Audi in second place.
Yeah, literally dragging Michael Johnson out of the car, so don't be surprised by that. Michael, as we said, he's paralysed from the chest down, so he can't do any of that sort of stuff himself, but a really, really fine effort by Michael. He'll hand over to Stephen Simpson.
And one lap later, Britt Casey Jr. heads to the pit lane. That's the TCR lead this year.
Driver change will be taking place. Tom Long getting his fair share of driving this week as Britt Casey Jr., our pole sitter, jumps out, and they are doing fuel and tires. Now I'm going to have to watch really closely on this pit stop, because when they drop the 74 off the air jacks, the sister car, on its stop, it's almost as if the under tray completely shattered. Bits of plastic were lying up and down the pit lane in quite large shards, so that's why it went back behind the wall. So I'm going to have to watch very closely that the same thing does not happen to the 77. The driver change nearly complete. Now the door shuts, car comes off of the air jacks, and they are just waiting on fuel as the 6 is going back out, and John looks like no problems here.
Thank you very much, Adam, with that Continental Tire pit lane report. Battle for second position goes into turn 8. The Compass 360, dark grey and fluorescent orange. McLaren cuts a very striking figure, that British-built sports car, designed and built sports car.
Tell you what,
and the number 8's got a good run here once again. Early in the stint, the Fords are strong. Jeremy and Chad McCumbee down the inside into turn number 1, makes the pass. That's a classic manoeuvre here at a classic circuit. Out of the final corner at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, get alongside, get position, and then just get to the apex first at turn 1. Great driving by McCumbee.
Yeah, absolutely right. But Carl Marcelli, having been released into the lead, he's charging away. 2.7 seconds was the gap over the number 76 car 2 laps ago, then 4 seconds, now almost 6. So Chad McCumbee needed to get past that McLaren. Now he's going to try and charge after Carl Marcelli. We've seen in recent races, and let's not forget that Carl Marcelli and Nate Stacey won two of the 3 most recent races. And Kyle has been very, very good in looking after his Continental tyres.
Yes, and he's just put in that car's fastest lap of the race at 25.2 last time around.
Each of the last 2 laps, that's correct.
Textbook overtaking manoeuvre from Chad McCumbee to get that number 8 back into second position. The blue, white and silver, the Motorsport supported car. Damien Faulkner has actually, when that's all shaken out, come out in 5th position. Well, he's in 5th position now because he's just past Mark Marmsey. And they did do all 4 tyres on that Mercedes-Benz. Damien in the 33 Winwood car is 5 seconds behind Hugh Plum in the 46 AMG GT. He's a couple of seconds behind Paul Holton in the McLaren, who's nearly 7 seconds now behind. No, check that. Who's a second, 1 second behind Chad McCumbee, who's 6 seconds behind the leader. So from the top, it's 68, 76, 46, 33 and 39 as Jeff Westfall's just gone into 6th position. Pit stop still happening, no, completed now for TCR, and Tom Long has resumed in the lead from Stephen Simpson in second, 77 from 54, 75 Pierre Kleinebing stayed in the car after his pit stops. ST pit stop, Shea Adam.
It's about to get very complicated for you, John, because we just had M. Pombo get into the number 52. That would be Mark Pombo, who's leading the championship, and M. Pombo get into the number 73. So the yellow one is Mark, the red one is Matt. That's the easy way to remember it. They did fuel on both cars, and now they send them back out with new drivers. But I only saw front tire change on both of those cars. I'm going to have to double check.
Well, that's because, what are the rear tyres for, Shea, on a front-wheel drive racing car?
To hold the exhaust off the ground.
Ka-ching. Might as well put a set of casters on the back of that. And the way the Minis drive, they're very nervous around here, but it looks great fun. 37 at the moment, side by side, with the 76 McLaren as they go across the start-finish line. Lovely piece of opportunist driving there as through to goes the 28, getting a lap back there, Spencer Pumpelly.
Yeah, he's charging. For some reason, Dylan McIlvaine lost a lot of time towards the end of his stint. Don't know whether it had I think he must have had a spin because he lost a fair bit of ground. I don't know, maybe not. He's certainly losing ground at a pretty rapid rate towards the end of the stint. So Spencer Pumpelly, unfortunately, has taken over a lap behind the leaders.
So, don't forget he's had to have a drive-through for that fueling infraction.
Oh, right. Okay, fine. I missed that. Sorry.
Yeah, he had a slow pit stop. It was not the best in terms of execution, and then they transgressed as well. So
Right.
they've been down. They've answered the call for the drive-through penalty.
Yeah.
So that'll do it every time, won't it?
It will, rather. Yeah. So he's going to be charging along now. You know, you never count Spencer Pumpelly out of the game, even if he's a lap down. He's got a lot of speed in that car. I don't know whether he's got enough speed to catch the leaders. He might. I'm quite sure how far. You know, he's a fair way back, I think, isn't he? So perhaps that's going to be a tall order. But it's been a. It'll be a good charge to watch Spencer in car number 28. He's not that far behind, actually.
No. Nick Galante in the...
But he's 2 laps down.
Yes.
Yeah.
In the 81 leading BMW, that's the Bimmer World. He's taking over now. And then it's... Yellow is Mark. So 52 is Mark in the Pombo in the Mini. But they are still, 36 seconds behind. Now, who's in the 92? Mark Ramsey at the moment took over that car. Alex Premat charging through to the lead and pulling away. Rather a lonely run for Mark at this current time. He's 7.5 seconds behind Brett Sandberg, who's the next car up the road. He's got Eric Foss getting closer to him. In fact, Eric's caught him now in the tangerine and black AMG GT. Well, at least the battle for 8th position as Nick Galante in the white and blue 81 BMW has really, that first stint by his teammate Jeremy just destroyed the opposition. That was an extraordinary thing to see in that ST category. And I don't think I've seen anything quite so dominant ever by any driver. Devon Jones doing a great job.
Yeah, it was very impressive, wasn't it?
Second place at the moment in TCR, 17th overall, Stephen Simpson in the number 54 Audi as the 73 is stopped. That's Matt. Matt Pombo is stopped out on the circuit. It's just on the exit of turn 5, I think, while we wait to see if that brings out a full course caution. Let's have a word with Michael Johnson in this Continental Tire Pit and report with Shane.
Michael, it's a whole heck of a lot better when the weather's like this as opposed to last week, isn't it? Makes your life easier?
Yeah, just a little bit. We're not sweating so much in the car.
In terms of the car, though, how is it handling this week around Canadian Tire Motorsport Park?
It's handling great. I was really struggling at the end there just because of tire degradation and everything, but the car is great, this track is great, and I feel great.
In terms of the podiums and your finishes so far this year, Mid-Ohio was 4th, then at Watkins Glen it was 3rd, which means that this week it should be 2nd and it should be winning at Lime Rock, right?
That's my plan. I've done really well at Lime Rock. That's where I started my car racing career, so I'm just trying to learn as much as I can and improve every time.
Full course caution is out. Does this help you guys in terms of strategy on making it to the end?
I'm not sure. We got a lot of fast guys in front of us and behind us, so we'll see what Steven can do, and hopefully he can do good.
Good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
What it will do is close the field up, of course. It helps the McLaren of Paul Holton in 3rd place at the moment because he'll be able to save a little bit of fuel. He might choose to top that car up here. And with 51 minutes to go, wow, I tell you what.
No, I don't think he's got any way to make it to the end. I mean, he stopped 4 laps before anybody else.
Right.
4
and everybody
laps,
else stopped
long,
at about
way.
51, 52 minutes.
Yeah, they did. In TCR, however, number 54 came in with about an hour and 2 minutes to go, so I think they could get to the end, as could the number 77, which came in 1 lap later. So the 77 car is golden. What this is going to do, though, is get the number 54 car a lot closer to number 77. So Stephen Simpson now, he's still on the same lap as Tom Long.
Yes. And there will be a class split, of course, so they will end up together.
Indeed, as is Pierre Klein-Newbing, and there's no love lost, let me tell you, between Pierre Klein-Newbing and Stephen Simpson, particularly from Simpson's point of view, because he reckons he's been pushed off the road 2 or 3 times over the last few races by Pierre Klein-Newbing at the wheel of that number 75 car. And so that's going to be certainly one to watch. That's number 54 and 75 when we get ready for the restart.
So I reckon, Jeremy, that we have on the lead lap in GS. We'll get some cars overtaking the safety car in a moment.
Don't worry.
Yeah, that's what's called the pass around. So any ST or TCR cars that are caught between the leader and their class leader is allowed to go around. That's exactly what's just happened for the 37 Mini.
Yeah.
Derek Jones.
Yeah, in fact, the number 77 car, which leads TCR, that was the first car off the lead lap in any case, in 14th position overall.
That's what I was just about to work out.
Yeah,
yes.
so the cars, there's a few cars between the 77 and the 54, a couple of cars actually. There's Corey Fergus, who will be in the pits now because that car needed its second stop, having made the early stop with a puncture.
Correct.
So that will need a pit stop now. This could be very good timing for that car actually, although no, they are already a lap down unfortunately, so they're going to remain a lap down. Stephen McAleer also in car number 5 is a lap down. Before we get ready for the restarts, as you were just alluding to, we'll have what they call the class split. So the GS class cars will move to the head of the...
Roll of the dice by the 8 Ford team. McCumbee has come in. Marcelli stayed out, and everybody behind Marcelli, the leader, has been hung out to drive. They must think they can go from here because everybody else has come into the pit lane. Adam.
Fuel only for the 33 Mercedes and the 38 Audi. It will be fuel only for the 56 Mercedes as well, but the 76 McLaren is doing fuel and tires, at least the left side. They've laid those out. The 33 Mercedes is already rolling, so Damian Faulkner heading back down the pit lane towards the pit exit. The number 8 is in the pit lane. They have elected to do tires on the Mustang, though, so that car for Chad McCumbee with new tires. It will be Owen Trinkler out second ahead of the Audi. Great stop by the team TGM, and then Eric Foss leaves behind the number 8 Mustang. The 82, the Bimmerl BMW, leaves ahead of the McLaren, but of course McLaren on fresh rubber, and the 19 BMW with a beautiful burnout by Greg Leifouge almost loses the back end, and the last car on the pit lane is that 69 McLaren, the Motorsports and Action car. That is because they did the driver change and they unleashed their team Canadian, which will be Jesse Lazare, just waiting on the last... Oh no, they have finished the fuel. What are they waiting on? Nothing. Now they've sent him on the way. The guy with the bright yellow gloves signals, and Jesse leaves the pit box. 4 new tires on that McLaren.
That was a very, very quick pit stop by the Winward Racing team. Damian Faulkner came in 9th position. TGM with Hugh Plum at the wheel.
No, he came in 5th. He was 5th.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, that order's,
of
you
course,
look at
when they went
it's a little
across
bit
the line.
different. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, he came in 5th position to number 33,
right,
ahead of the 39.
But they have got out as the first of the pit-stopped cars, I reckon. We'll see them reset when they come through. So staying out, Jeremy, Kyle Marcelli in the 60, Brett Sandberg in the 80. Those 2 Fords. Now, the only reason to stay out, Jeremy, is because they must think they'll be able to get to the end of the race from here. Yeah,
absolutely right, yes. I mean, they came in, those cars came in with 1 hour and 8 minutes to go, so they completed 52 minutes. They did one pace lap before the start of the race, so that only 2 pace laps before the start of the race, so that eats up a little bit of fuel. So this will certainly help, but he will have to save fuel for sure, and the other guys will be able to go absolutely flat out. So another caution would be very, very nice for Kyle Marcelli. He would certainly be hoping for that. Brett Sandberg also stayed out, number 80 Ford. The other cars that stayed out were number 92, that's Mark Ramsey.
So he'll jump up to 3rd position.
But he's going to drop back through the pack. As we said, he doesn't have anything like the
Trent
experience of the other guys.
stayed out.
Exactly. The other Ford. And what's interesting about that is that the number 8 and the number 70, they were the last 2 cars from GS to make their scheduled pit stop. So they have just a little bit more fuel than everybody else.
Nobody from ST or TCR coming into the pit lane.
And the number 80 and the number 7, they have 2 laps more fuel than does the number 60 car that leads.
Right, let me tell you how it stands at the front of the field. Kyle Marcelli, who did not stop, they must feel they can go. The 60 leads it behind the safety car from Brett Sandberg in the number 80. That's 2 Fords at the front of the field. The first Mercedes is Mark Ramsey in the very rapid number 92 car. He took that car over. It came in the lead, of course. Alex Premat had built up a 16-second lead. Then it's Trent Hinman in the bright yellow Volt Racing Ford Mustang. He did not come in at that point, so they must feel that this full course yellow is going to be enough to get them to the end, as must Justin Piscatel, who took over the 65 Mercedes. That's one of the Mosing Motorsport cars, the Murillo Racing cars. Then Damien Faulkner, who is the first driver in 6th position in the 33 who splashed fuel. Now there's no doubt in my mind that he can get to the end, and what's more, he can get to the end on full rich.
Oh, all of them can, except...
I don't think everybody can get full rich. I think
the other guys can. All those other guys that came into pits can.
Oh, behind.
Sure. Yeah.
Yes, no, but sorry, he's the first guy, I said.
I beg your pardon.
Yes.
Indeed.
Sorry, don't confuse
so the
me,
question is, how long this caution is going to be, and is there going to be another full course caution? One more lap, right. So
we're going to have 45 minutes to go, and that is exactly what Damien Faulkner wanted at Watkins Glen. He only had about 30 minutes, and that he felt not enough time to get the tyres up. Now the thing is, they've not changed tyres in that pit stop, so he's got already scrubbed those Continentals in. They've had a heat cycle into them. Let's watch the Mercedes, see how they go.
Meanwhile, in ST, it's game on, because everywhere's back on the lead lap again. So all of a sudden, that big lead that the BMW had, huge lead, is now... Well, there's a few cars in between them on the road, certainly, but it's been massively
Well, there won't
reduced.
be, because there'll be a class... Oh, cars, green, and the 60 car goes on, and there's a couple of cars that have died for the pit lane very late indeed. Now, who were they? They must have been lapped cars. That was Guy Cosmo, who was hoping to get back on the lead lap. It didn't happen for him. Here comes Damien Faulkner down the inside, and he's trying to defend and attack at the same time. He's got a couple of cars in. Now, there was some... I thought I saw commence class split for the GS, but I don't think that happened. Scott Maxwell came into the pit lane.
I think it did. And he's many laps off the pace, and number 4 car is 2 laps behind.
Okay.
So out of contention.
Right, we've got Spencer Pumpelly in the mix there. Then that was what I saw. I saw a Porsche in there and thought, hello, that can't be right. But of course, he is a GS car, but he's just laps down. Stephen McAleer is in there, and he's a lap down as well. And that's the car, the number 5, that's the Body Motion car that's right ahead of Damien Faulkner at the moment, and between him and Mark Ramsey. The leaders are on the back straight at the moment, and it's Kyle Marcelli leading from Brett Sandberg, Ford, Mercedes, and then Trent Hinman. Not a great restart from Trent. He had a bit of traffic to get round as well, but he should get back to Mark Ramsey in a lap or 2 in that 92 car. Here's the leaders coming round.
Yeah, it'll be quicker than that. He won't take it long at all. But Spencer Pumpelly certainly is going to try and get one of his 2 laps back here from Kyle Marcelli, and Marcelli will be smart just to let him go. The 28 car, normally it's a threat, it's the championship leader, but it's 2 laps back, not 1 lap. So to make up 2 laps from here is going to be very, very difficult for Spencer Pumpelly.
Pumpelly in the 28 Porsche goes across the top of the skyline, right in behind Brett Sandberg. Yes, that was what was confusing me. I thought they were, I thought I'd spotted an ST Porsche in that mix there, and it was a GS car, but a GS car off the lead lap. Meantime, Guy Cosmo and Chase Briscoe has now taken over the 15 car. They've both rejoined. Chase will be here for the NASCAR Truck Series later on in the year. Coming through the pack, the 8 car, Chad McCumbee, right up alongside Mark Ramsey. I think there was a little touch there. Going into 5 ahead of him, he has got one of the TGM cars. Oh, Mark's off the road for a moment there, as there's all kinds of scrambling for position. Round the outside, the 76 car right up alongside Chad McCumbee. Paul Holton doing what he does best and getting the McLaren through a very small hole. Also coming through there, Jeff Westphal in the 39 Audi, the black and very, very bright green car. And then ahead of them, it's Hugh Plum, Damien Faulkner, now up to 4th position and trying to hunt down Trent Hinman, who's gone through into 3rd. So all kinds of changes of position there, and a huge clump of cars coming through the final corner. So Marcelli by 1.5 seconds from Sandberg, the 3 Fords now, because Hinman's right there on Sandberg, and then Damien Faulkner is 5 seconds further back after that bit of schmozzle down at turn 5. But it's worked its way out, and we've got 41 seconds, and through into the lead, the 52 Mini. Yep. That's Mark Pombo in the yellow car that's gone through. Nick Galante has given up the lead and has dropped a second further back. The Mini then ahead of the BMW with Jason Ray behind him in the 21 car.
Yeah, he's just moved ahead of number 37 Mini as well.
Yeah, that was so important, the timing of that yellow that kept the ST cars, as you said, Jeremy, all getting back on the lead lap. We've lost Mark Pombo in the 73, pulled off at the side of the road. Is that the second time in 2 events that 73 car? Was that the one that died right near the end? Well, that was a drive shaft.
It was a drive shaft.
Yeah, it was a drive shaft, wasn't it? That car. 40 minutes, Jeremy, and literally anything can happen.
Yeah, Stan, don't get too close to the side of the road. And number 80 car, that is Brett Sandberg. He's a little bit closer, it looks to me, this time around as they come across the stripe. This is 52 laps completed. Yeah, 1.1 second. He pulled in about 0.3 of a second on a lap, and right on his tail is Trent Hinman in that bright yellow car number 7. Quick
hello to Corey Marvin, who's tuned in Sound and Vision from Belleville, Ontario, Canada. Hang on a second, why aren't you here? He's watching several different series at the moment, including us and the 24-hour series at Portimao. Fantastic stuff. So under 40 minutes to go. Sound and Vision together from trackside. The 77 still leads. Tom Long has 3 seconds on Pierre Kleinebing, who's got ahead of Stephen Simpson on the restart.
He has.
54 Stephen Simpson, the red, white and blue car, in 3rd place. And it's Lee Carpentier in the 10 Audi in 4th position. Remember, the drama in TCR, Shea Adam earlier on describing, I'll go back down to Shea for this, the championship leader with a very bizarre problem after a pit stop in TCR, Shea.
And left a lot of bits of plastic or carbon on the pit lane. It's very sharp. It is sort of a plasticky thing, almost like the undertray just exploded when they dropped the car off the air jacks and Kuno Wentmer put it into gear to go back out on track. That car has come back out from behind the pit wall. It is out circulating, but far, far out of contention for any points today. So it's really just about giving Kuno some time on his favorite track, which is a bit bittersweet when you figure that their championship rivals, their sister car, currently leading the race.
Yeah, they are on their 34th lap at the moment. 51 laps completed for the leaders in TCR, but there are only 4 cars ahead of them, so they will get 5th place points, and that, when it comes down to the championship, may still be important. So getting that car turned round and back out there, very, very smart indeed from our championship leading number 74 TCR squad to get that car turned around from Compass Racing. Down in the pit lane, the guys watching and listening at the same time on the IMSA app. If you haven't got that downloaded, why not? Available for all the major operating systems, absolutely free to download and use. Will not ask you for any money, maybe a bit of information about who you follow and who your favourite drivers and cars are, but you can get this race right now live in Sound of Vision and the IMSA app, and every single Continental Tire race throughout the rest of the season, as well as qualifying for the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship wherever you are in the world. And if you're outside of the US at the moment, then you can also get the IMSA races in glorious Sound and Vision. 56 moving up this, well, only for a moment, for one corner. 56 and 82 having a cracking battle. The Mercedes and the Optima Batteries BMW, the Murillo Motorsport, they're battling for 9th and 10th position, Tyler Cook and Eric Foss. And in there as well, there's a McLaren, and who's that? That's the 69 car. That's Jesse Lazar coming back through after the front left tyre problem on that car earlier on. So he is a lap or so off the pace. Just the 1 lap, Jeremy? Yeah, excellent. Tom Long being caught by Pierre Kleinerby at the head of the TCR, down to just a couple of seconds now.
Change again in ST. We've got the BMW back ahead this time around. So he made the pass somewhere on that lap, and also in 3rd position, only a second or so behind. Jason Raby's clinging on ahead of the number 37 Mini, which is right there as well. That, of course, is Derek Jones driving that car right now. Some super battling all the way up and down, isn't there? It's brilliant
second
stuff.
Position now, Jeremy. That's where we're lighting the fire under Brett Sandberg in the white car. Down the inside, Trent Hinman at the final corner. Had to back out of it. Good driving by Trent there. Thought he could do the Premat, but didn't. And had to get out of the big contact there. Could have spun the car ahead, and that was not what he was aiming to do. He wants the position, but he wants it cleanly. Through 2, down the hill. Leader Kyle Marcelli is 1.8 seconds ahead of the battling white and black Mustang up against the highlighter yellow Volt car.
Yeah, and right now our race leader Kyle Marcelli is very grateful, I think, to have Spencer Montpellier in between himself and that battle for 2nd place between Brett Sandberg and Trent Hinman.
25.9 last time around for Damien Faulkner. 2 or 3 tenths quicker than those 2 Ford Mustangs that are battling for 2nd and 3rd position. But Kyle Marcelli did a 25.6 last time around. Fastest man on the circuit apart from Chad McCumbee, the number 8 Ford. But don't forget, the Mustangs will lose pace to the end of their stint, and the Mercedes should gain a bit of pace towards the end of the stint, and there's still 35 minutes before the checkered flag comes out, and Damien Faulkner will want that to be green all the way, because he will want to push in that number 33 car in 3rd position, 1 spot away from a podium position for Winward, and that would be a tremendous result for those guys. Hugh Plum now 3-4 seconds behind in the 46 Mercedes, the TGM Motorsport car, or TGM, sorry, Giovannis Motorsport, 5th position. Ford, Mercedes, Ford, McLaren, Audi, BMW, Mercedes. That's your top 10, and there are 17 seconds between those top 10 cars.
Yeah, and heading through turn 1 now, towards 2, is the battle for leading TCR as well. That's now nose to tail. Number 77 car, Tom Long, all of a sudden has Pierre Kleinerby and Stephen Simpson right behind him. Both of those 2nd and 3rd place cars close up quite a bit. They close up about a second and a half on that last lap. Must have been some sort of a mistake, I think.
No, I think what it is, they've caught Mark Ramsey in that dark red Mercedes, and he's slowing them down through the twisty bits, and of course it's difficult to accelerate by because that's a GS car which has a bit more power. 125.6 last time around for Faulkner. That is Damien Faulkner, by the way, in 4th position. That's the fastest that car has done, the 33 Winward car, and the Irishman has been set on full attack mode now, and that car looking like a much better platform the longer it goes through this green flag run. The blue and silver colours in elegant isolation as he comes past us and across the line now under the starter stand down towards turn 1. 125.6 last time around, so another quick lap, and he's pulled within 5 seconds of that battle for 2nd position now.
Yeah, he's only gained fractionally over the last half dozen laps, Damien Faulkner, fractionally, and behind him though he's edging away from the car number 46 of Hugh Plum by a few tenths each lap.
I just wonder if this has all the hallmarks for me, Jeremy. And again, I'm going to compliment Jeff Carter, Simon Hodgson and the IMSA technical team. All the hallmarks of one of these races that's going to come back together in the last 10 minutes or so. 20 minutes from now, remember what I'm saying. because I've got a feeling we're going to have a 4 or 5 lap dash with the top 4 or 5 cars potentially all together. All these different cars with the different handling characteristics, the different engine sizes, with the different weights and weight distribution, engine perhaps in the different places even on some of these cars. I just feel that their different characteristics are going to bring them together before the end. Jeremy.
Meantime, side by side it was across the line for the lead in ST. The BMW sneaking ahead just about by, what was it, 0.008 as they crossed the line ahead of the Mini of the number 52 Mini, just right there. It's just a fabulous battle at the moment between Mark Pombo and Nick Galante at the front of the field in ST.
Should also give a mention to Jeff Mashtawi as well from the technical crew, another valuable member of the IMSA team. And yeah, that's the Audis now, 1, 2 and 3 in TCR are together behind that dark red number 92 AMG GT4. And what they might have to do is wait for the next GS car to come by. It was close across the line last time around. In fact, there was a touch between the front wheels of the BMW and the BMW Mini, and the 52 car just going through. Got to be careful there. Oh, here's the move. Here's the move. Mark Ramsey goes a little bit wide at turn 3. No, can't make it. It's going to be the saviour for these TCR cars, I think, is going to be Chase Briscoe in the 15 car coming back, because he will be able to make a hole for them. Top 4 in TCR together now. They get right up behind the AMG GT of Mark Ramsey in the slow bits, and then he drives away from them on the faster bits. And here comes Briscoe. Chase Briscoe is passing the 77 of Tom Long, the leading TCR car. Now, get in behind him, Tom, get the draft, and then see if you can't let him make the move for you down into the final corner. You might be able to just squeeze by. That's where you've got to be looking for it. They're into our sight now. Briscoe does down the inside and almost locks it up. And he's actually done himself no harm, no good at all, as Tom Long has to go around the outside to keep his momentum up, because the Compass car behind of Pierre Kleineming is right there. Then Stephen Simpson in the red, white and blue Audi. Oh, this is fantastic stuff in TCR. I tell you what, Jeremy, round Lime Rock Park in a couple of weeks' time, these TCR cars are going to be a real force to be reckoned with, aren't they?
Well, they are, and you know, and without, they wouldn't have quite done it, but they are definitely going to be able to get to the finish on just the one pit stop.
Yeah.
Two leaders in any case, whereas all the other GS cars were going to have to stop again. If you'd been under green, that might have been kind of interesting to see where the best of the TCRs finished.
Now up into turn 5 complex, and Chase Briscoe makes the hole up the inside. Mark Ramsey just holding his line. He's perfectly entitled to do that. Now the Mustang should blast past the Mercedes here on the back straight. Goes to driver's left. Now, can the Audis all get in line astern and do a big long draft? No, they're not close enough. Briscoe round the outside into turn 8. He'll get it done. I don't think Mark's going to try and dispute it too much. Brakes nice and early, and that really hasn't helped the 4 Audis behind now. It's great for us, though.
It is, and the Mini back in the lead again, by the way, in ST. What was that battle? Number 74 car's right in the thick of that TCR battle as well.
Yes, it is.
But he is not part of the battle for the lead. He's several laps down, many laps down, is Kuno Whitmer in car number 74.
Oh, right. So sorry, that is only the top 3. My apologies.
Yeah.
I thought that was my apologies. That's the TCR car, all of the Compass cars, isn't it?
Yeah. So the question therefore is, Stephen Simpson there is kind of on his own against the 3.
Oh, great move. Sorry, Jeremy, from Tom Long. Round the outside at the bottom of 2, and then cuts to the inside on the uphill at 3, and manages to get by the GS car. Now that's brilliant news for him, and awful news for the other TCR runners behind him, Pierre Kleineming and Stephen Simpson. They've got to make the move. Kleineming has a look. He's up the inside in the middle of turn 5. Yes, squeezes through, and Stephen Simpson will take the opportunity as well. Front wheel drive, gets a decent push off the corner, but he's going to be hung out to driver's right as the Mercedes gets up to speed. That's split the battle up in TCR for just a moment. They're all in the back straight. He can't get it done. He's the 92 coming back through again. Meantime, back in the pit lane, the number 28, Spencer Pumpelly. And this is not a regular stop. Shea Adam, they're putting the jack holders underneath. There's a problem with the right front.
Yes, and when the blocks of wood comes out, that normally means that there's going to be a mechanic going underneath because they need to get a better view on things. This was the championship leader coming into the race today. Keep in mind, tied on points with the number 82 Memorial BMW of James Clay and Tyler Cook. And this 28 machine, it might be a brake issue on the right front, but it's definitely severe enough to take them out of the top 10.
Wow.
And that's two championship leaders who have had issues today. The TCR leader, remember, the number 74, Kuno Whitmer, still in 5th position, but with a problem when the car dropped down from the jacks, the under tray all broken up. And so that car's dropped out of contention for the win. We'll still get some points, but this is awful for Spencer Pumpelly. They're already down to 17th in GS, and they may be getting nul point this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, they get a few points, but certainly not nearly as many as they would have wanted.
And who were they?
They were tied on points with number 82.
Right, well, they're
currently running in the 10th position.
Yeah, I was going to say they're not having a stellar weekend, either the BMW, but there's time yet, says Hindhoff.
And that number 82 car is involved in a big battle with number 56 and a number 19 and a number 76 car just ahead of them as well. It's a 4-car battle for 8th position, 76, 82, 56 and 19. And there's a lap car in there as well, I think it's number 69.
First on the road and leading GS, Kyle Marcelli in the number 60 Ford Mustang. Works his way through traffic. Comes past us and completes another lap.
And all of those TCR cars now managed to sneak past Mark Ramsey and number 92 car, so that'll be a relief. Now they can get on with their own battle, but that has enabled Tom Long to extend just a little bit of a lead, almost a couple of seconds over Pierre Kleinubing in 75 and Stephen Simpson 74.
Yeah, Stephen Simpson has hung on though to the back of Kleinubing in that 54 car. Shea Adam, what was the problem with that championship leading GS car? The 28 is back out, Spencer Pumpelly at the wheel.
It's the same story that we've told before. It's a brake caliper that keeps sticking on the right front, John.
Yeah, I thought that was what we could see them messing about with. Good spot, Shea, thank you. Damien Faulkner, 125.5 last time around, and all of a sudden he's pulled back to just 4 seconds behind the battle for 2nd and 3rd. And now he's under 7 seconds away from the leader. McLaren on the front straight. And that is Jesse Lazare in the 69 trying to get a lap back. He's the 15th place GS car at the moment. And he's in behind Paul Holton, who's 8th. Right behind him, the 82 wants to get a cleaner look. Tyler Cook in the BMW, the Optima Batteries car, wants to get a cleaner look at that dark-coloured McLaren. But he can't get on terms at the moment. 23 minutes to go. This has been enthralling again, Jeremy.
Yeah, great fun, isn't it?
Epic stuff out on this great circuit. Bit of side-by-side contact with that was the 74, I think. Kuno Whitmer trying to come back through the field on the 92, which is dropping down now. Where's the 92? 13th for Mark Ramsey now.
Yeah, last car on the lead lap.
Another 25 for Damien Faulkner. That's another 3/10 out of the guys ahead of him. This is, I did say, Jeremy, give us 10 minutes or so to go, and this could all come back together. That Mercedes is picking up pace, and the Ford's just losing a 10th or 2 now every lap. Jesse Lazare trying to go around the outside at turn 1. That's not a smart move, particularly not when your lap's down. 77, Tom Long leads the TCR category for Compass 360. What a result this could be for Compass 360. 2 cars first and second. Stephen Simpson in third in the red, white and blue Audi. At number 54 for JDC Miller Motorsports. Oh, please, let's have some more TCR cars come to the series. I think we will. I had a chat with a few drivers and teams both inside and away from this paddock over the last few weeks, just before Le Mans, as well as Stephen Simpson has a look for second position as he comes out the bottom of turn 2. That's not going to work, and they're looking at this very seriously indeed. Oh, what a great piece of opportunist driving from the Optima Batteries BMW and Tyler Cook. He's managed to use the battling Jesse Lazare and the Paul Holton car to his advantage. He got through for a moment. Also in there, the number 19 BMW. It's one of the... That's the 10th position car, so that's all battling for position there.
Oh yeah, 8th, 9th, 10th and 11th.
Yeah, Eric Foss right in there as well. And Lazare, I think rather sensibly, has dropped to the back of that queue. He doesn't really need to be involved in that 8th, 9th, 10th and 11th battle. And he clearly can't make the pass cleanly on the Paul Holton driven 76 at the front of this 5-car train. And remember, the white and blue McLaren, 5th of those 5 cars battling, is not in the fight there.
The in ST, the Mini number 52 has edged away now, as we see the battling the McLaren. They got a poor run off the Moss corner there.
Yeah, 52 Mini now all of a sudden 7 seconds at the head of the field, having that been so close. Shea Adam, Continental Tire pit lane report. We're not expecting any pit stoppers between now and the next 20 minutes in the checkered flag, are we?
No, we're not. The pit lane very quiet in that sense, but I've just noticed while walking up the pit lane that our current leaders are pitted right next to the guys in 3rd place. So if Trent Hinman manages to get around Brett Sandberg, it will be 1 and 2 fighting each other literally across the pit box, because they are within striking distance of one another.
Let's not hope it's not striking distance. Under 20 minutes to go. Faulkner now under 3 seconds behind the battle for second, and that car is beginning to hit its straps, and so is its driver, consistently in the 25s for the last 4 or 5 laps. And there's been a response by Brett Sandberg. He's in the 25s, only just, but in the 25s for the first time in a long time, and the Kyle Marcelli lead is down under 3 seconds, and the top 4 cars now within 6 seconds. Great battling behind Paul Holton for the positions at the bottom end of the top 10. 8th down over. Those 4 cars, 5 cars go underneath the Chevrolet bridge, but remember the one at the back of that, the white and blue and black McLaren, is laps down. That is Jesse Lazare, who is actually 15th, and just 1 lap, but a long way from getting the lap back from the leader. Side by side in the final corner, Hugh Plum is holding off the black and bright green number 39 Audi of Jeff Westphal. That is the battle for 6th position. Right in behind them is the 28 of Spencer Pumpelly. Remember, that car's had its problems. Came in as a championship leader, the 28 in GS, and will lose that championship lead today if it stands as it is. Tyler Cook and James Clay, the guys who I think will inherit that. I'll let Jeremy do the arithmetic.
Actually, it could be no, it'll be Nate Stacey and
Kyle Marcelli. Yes, you're absolutely right, who are winning the race at the moment. Yeah. This is all, I mean, we've got 17 minutes to go. This is not anywhere near over yet. I hear no singing. I don't even hear a bit of gargling to get the throat in shape. Don't write your headlines yet in the press room. And hello to everyone underneath us here in this wonderful new facility Still think of it as a new facility, been up a few years now. IMSA Broadcast Centre overlooking turn 10, the final corner. And here's Westphal down the inside of Plum, down into the first corner. That was a bold manoeuvre, and it's a manoeuvre that's played off.
And it was set up because Hugh made a bit of a mistake coming off the final corner, got it really sideways, and that now enabled Westphal to pull alongside him and then make the move at turn 1.
Now he's got to hold on to that through the downhill at turn 2. I think he will. Hugh trying hard to square off the corner and get a bit of an earlier exit, earlier throttle application rather. Passing the number 6 now. That is the Mercedes AMG. That's the Shining Star Motorsport by Atlantic, new team this weekend. Started by Danny Cox, our ice driving expert. And in that 6 at the moment, is it Paul Holtrust? It's in the 6 car.
Yes.
Yes, I thought it was. Wasn't on my entry list earlier this week. Damien Faulkner now just a couple of seconds behind the. Oh, yeah, just a second and a half behind Hindman, who's only 4/10 behind Sandberg. This is all closing up rather nicely. The 33 Mercedes, the car on the move again, as Lazare once again picks his way through the cars that are a lap ahead of him, but this time makes it through nice and smoothly and cleanly on Paul Holton. Tyler Cook, by the way, has gone up to 8th position in all of that as he picked his way through, so that's good points for him. And it looks as though Paul Holton is losing a bit of pace here, and his McLaren too, because the 19 BMW is having a look there as well. Gregory Liefuger.
All of a sudden in TCR, John, the number 77 car Tom Long has just romped
checked
clear.
out.
Yeah, he has.
Kleinebing and Simpson were battling together, and they had a bit more trouble getting past Mark Ramsey, but that was a wee while ago. But since then, Tom Long's just been edging gently away. He's taken a full second out of them last time around.
He has, and I think Pierre Kleinebing is not going very quickly. Looking at his lap time there, 30.2. That car is capable of going a lot faster than that. I fear he's playing the team game here and making sure he holds up Stephen Simpson. And like I said before, there's no love lost between those two.
Stephen Simpson on the podium last weekend in TCR with Michael as well. Our leader, Kyle Marcelli, nearly 3 seconds of a lead as well at the moment. It's not comfortable, but that's reassuring, I think, at the moment, as he goes down at the bottom of turn 2. Squares the car up for turn 3.
Battle for 3rd and 4th, though. Faulkner is now pretty much with Hinman, so
yeah,
working their way through that traffic.
Very, very measured drive by Damo. Knew that the car was going to come on in the last last quarter of the race, and that's exactly where we are now. Under 15 minutes to go, and the battle between Sandberg, Hinman and Faulkner is on, and that's the battle for podium positions. Sandberg has picked up his pace a little bit, and so has Hinman now as well. So have they been saving something for the end? Just a slight bit of smoke coming out from the back of the 19 Liefuger BMW in 10th position. Hopefully that was just something scraping the ground. Stephen Simpson with Kleinebing right ahead of him as they go through turn 2. Maybe a bit of traffic ahead will help. It's the leader in ST, Mark Pombo, in the yellow Mini, and this could be the opportunity for Simpson. He's closed right up behind the Compass 360 car ahead of him. Coming down to Moss Corner, underneath the Chevrolet bridge. Simpson needs to be right there. We know that he's a decisive overtaker. He can make passes happen. Identical cars. Oh, the Mini's got damage. Our leader in ST has got damage. The left front wheel arch guard, the wheel arch extension, is hanging off that car and sticking out like a Roger Moore raised eyebrow at the moment. Looks fairly incredulous, that car, as it comes back towards us.
Absolutely.
Well, you know what I mean, don't you?
Brilliant, John. Brilliant. Love that.
And here's Kyle Marcelli, the overall race leader, coming into the battle as well. So we've got 3 leaders within the start-finish straight. Battle for second in TCR has just passed the ST leader and has the overall and GS leader coming through. I love this kind of racing.
Fantastic.
I love this kind of racing. Faulkner under a second behind Hinman now. And that will be heating up shortly as well. 11 minutes to go. Stephen Simpson lets the leader go around the outside, and then we'll drop right in behind him. He's right in behind the number 60 of of Kyle Marcelli, excuse me. The 75 car does the same thing, answering the blue. The 75 of P.I. Kleineming does the same thing. Shea Adam, do my eyes deceive me, or are there 1 or 2 people starting to get up on the pit wall?
The 69 McLaren is in, and they're changing the left side tires, but you are correct. The 56 Murillo Racing Mercedes has crew members up on the wall ready to refuel, as do, and they're in 10th position right now, mind you, as do the number 92, the Ramsey car, the red Mercedes. There are people up on the wall to service that car as well, and that one is in 13th position. Crew members are semi-actively watching the race up on the Roush wall, so that would be the leading car, the number 60, Kyle Marcelli. The tire change has stopped for the 69, and they're sending Jesse Rosaire back out, but there was no fuel added during that stop. Interesting.
So that was just really on the McLaren. I'm surprised about that. Don't forget, Marcelli and Sam Berg, 60 and 80, the 2 leading cars, did not splash at the full course caution, and neither did Trent Hinman. So maybe they've been in their fuel-saving phase, whilst Damien Faulkner was able to charge up behind. It's been a good run by Faulkner, 4th position at the moment, and only 3/4 of a second behind a podium stop. In comes the 92, as Shea predicted it would, and it will be fuel only for that car. Mark Ramsey will go back out. Damien Faulkner has a TCR car between himself and the... Oh, there's a touch, almost. Damien had to move over to the right-hand side as the 75 Pierre Kleineming was coming out of Moss Corner. And that's cost Damo a good half to a second there. He was right with the Volt car, but he has got pace in that Mercedes AMG. Faulkner in 4th place, 1 spot off the podium. The worst place to finish, I always think. Hinman coming through to complete lap number 74. Faulkner needs to use the superior handling of the Mercedes. May have a little more tyre life as well. Under 10 minutes to go, 8 minutes exactly now. The leader in ST going by, not sounding clean there, Shea, that yellow Mini.
He was having a lot of trouble finding the proper gear, John, as he came by me on the front straight, and the lollipop has been retrieved from the number 60 crew. They have tires up on the wall and a mechanic holding.
Leader in ST is slowing. That, I think there's been contact on the left front side, and again we see the car pulled off with only minutes to go. And I think that's a drive shaft again. Is he trying? No, he's trying to get a gear in the car. There's been side-to-side contact with something that might have knocked the gear linkage, I don't know. He's just over the brow at 2. He's pulled off of the racing line. Oh, this is disaster for the 52 car, and the Mini again is going to be robbed of a victory.
Yeah, and he needs to get that car out of the way. I mean, he stopped it there. He should be able to freewheel down the bottom of the hill and get it out of the way.
If he freewheels to the bottom of the hill, there's a gap in the concrete wall that we know they can get a car into. We've seen that happen already. 6 3/4 minutes to go. The leader in behind the leader of TCR, Tom Long. They've just gone past the stricken Mini, and the leader's gone through there. I hope there was a green flag there, because there would have been yellows out. Stephen McAleer in from the early teens for fuel. 6 minutes to go. There's going to be a lot of nervous people out here. Let me just reiterate, 50, check, 60, 80 and 7. That's the top 3 cars did not stop for fuel at the same time as everyone else did in the full course yellow, with just under an hour to go. Justin Piscatel in the Mercedes 65, the Murillo Racing car, in for fuel. The guys are hanging out at the front now, hoping for a full course yellow. There must be. Mark Pombo really needs to roll that car down the hill, or reverse it back.
There's a break in the wall right behind you. He might be kind of shielded. The angle we're looking at there.
That's a good point, Jeremy.
Shield him. I hope
he did seem to pull right off to the side.
Faulkner comes out of the final corner, absolutely nailed, glued to the back bumper of number 7 Ford.
Right, there's now safety workers there. He is sort of shaded by the edge of the concrete wall, Jeremy, that's right. 3 seconds between first and second. Carl Marcelli's just pulled that gap by about 1/2 to 3/4 of a second in the last 4 or 5 laps. We're inside 5 minutes. I'm no good at all at reading body language, Shea Adam, but I know you are watching the 60, the 80 and the 7 Ford teams. Does there seem to be any worry about fuel? I can't tell. I honestly can't tell, Shea.
They've got all their helmets on, so you can't really see the poker faces going on for the number 60. For the 7 crew, they are not up on the wall. So for the 60 Mustang right next to them, they are up on the wall. They're not holding the fuel muzzle, though. They are just holding the lollipop, waiting if he does need to come in, Kyle Marcelli. There is 0 movement down at the 80, the AWA Mustang, though. So clearly some really good poker faces on the pit lane.
Mark Pombo out of the 52 Mini, and it's been left where it is, and I think that'll stay there to the end of the race now. So he did get it far enough off the racing line. He did try his best, in fairness.
Yep.
Now here's the battle for the final place on the podium. Goes past us now, down into turn 1, and Faulkner's there, and there's nothing between them, but there's more traffic. Oh, and Faulkner goes very wide. So does the Volt Mustang, has to go offline as they pass down the inside of another AMG. Sure which car that was that they went by, but
something must have happened on that lap, I think, between Simpson and Kleinebing, because all of a sudden Simpson is about 3 seconds ahead.
So he's got by him.
He has indeed got by him.
Right, okay.
So that's second position for car number 54.
Couple of laps left, Jeremy, at the lead of the field, and Faulkner's right there. There'll be nails being bitten on the pit wall at Winwood right now. Gets a good exit, but we know that the Mustang will pull away a wee bit. But he's got to be close going into the final corners, and then maybe the block pass. If he can get the block pass into the final corner and hold it through turn 1, he might have enough to hold off Hinman. This is for a spot on the podium. Winwood Racing have not had that accolade yet. Through turn 9, does he swing out? Yes, he does. Down the inside, he does not quite get it done. He rides up the curb though. That will compromise his exit. Oh, what a shame. Has to drop back in and does so immediately to try and get the draft from the Mustang through turn 1. He might have one more go at that, maybe 2. but he's shown his hand a little bit there.
He has a bit, yeah. I mean, he's really, if he's going to do that, he's just got to stuff it down the inside and be alongside before Hinman gets the opportunity to turn into the corner. He wasn't quite close enough.
Hinman was very late on the brakes.
Yes, and Hinman also left it wide. He saw what Faulkner was doing, left him the room to make sure that if he did dive bomb it, he wasn't going to nail him on the side of the door. That's off. Good driving by both drivers there. Faulkner realised he wasn't quite close enough, and Hinman realised he might try it, so he gave him room. Great driving by the both of them.
Marcelli leads.
2 minutes to go. It'll be white flag this time around.
Yeah, agreed.
Just about. Yes. Just about.
Yes.
Yes, it will. Yeah.
Yes, it will be. It's a minute and 37 seconds now. And the core Motorsport, Kyle Marcelli driven, number 60, heads towards what will be the white flag, this time by Nate Stacey. And that Roush Performance Core Motorsport car started it. And he's done a cracking job. He's paced himself perfectly and comes across the line to see the white flag.
They got together, those two. I didn't see what happened.
Hinman off in the final corner. And
I think Hinman was able to continue. No, mistake. No.
Last lap confirmed as the last lap, and that battle for third place has gone the way of Damien Faulkner. He's 3.2 seconds behind, and Hinman's recovered, but he's lost 3 seconds. So is there damage? Can they both get to the end? Because Chad McCumbie's not that far behind. He can pick up the pieces. Maybe Jeff Westphal as well. Beautifully gauged race by the Fords, Jeremy. Have the advantage on torque.
As long as he can do another mile and a half.
Yeah, halfway around. Well, I'm saying beautifully judged right now. He's halfway around the lap. He's at turn 5. Brett Sandberg is by no means 2.7 seconds behind now. But he's not close enough to threaten as he picks his way past the Justin Piscatel Murillo Racing car. There's a lot of uphill in the second half of the lap here. You can't just kick the clutch in and let it roll. But this is going to be a win, and the championship lead in GS for the Canadian Tire Motorsport Park 120. The latest round of the IMSA Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge goes to Ford, to Kyle Marcelli and to Nate Stacey across the line, and they will leave Canada as the championship leaders. Joy unbounded down on the pit wall. We'll get some reaction at the moment. Sandberg's gone through in second, Faulkner in third, and just about it. Now I'm not sure who it was. McCumbie was right there. Did McCumbie get it? No, not by 1/10 of a second. So Hinman struggling to the line, just holds on to 4th in the number 7 car. So one Mercedes in the top 5, and it's the Winwood Racing car. Winwood Racing, HTP Motorsport, Russell Ward doing a great job and a beautifully judged drive in the second half of the race. Great pits work as well to get that car turned around and out at the head of the cars that had stopped for pits. But championship lead, top step of the podium. Oh, Canada. What a great run for Kyle Marcelli and his teammate Nate Stacey.
Nate, wow. 3 races out of 5 wins this year. That's pretty incredible when you think about the odds. It has been one heck of a season for you guys, and you leave here as the GS Championship leaders. How are you feeling right now?
Dude, we're ecstatic. Honestly, for the last 5 laps, me and Dean were holding each other, just hoping it didn't break. I think me and Dean I don't know if we're going to be able to walk back. I think we may have to run. That was crazy, man. I gave a heart attack about 3 times. Car was awesome. Dean Martin engineered it to perfection. Strategy was flawless at all. Kyle Marcelli drove the lights out of it, man. It was a great stint. Had some good luck. Had a lot of really good coordination. Didn't need to be up front at the start. Just was there at the end. So thanks to everyone at Roush and Core and Ford and everyone for helping us out. And hopefully we can keep going.
Does he have enough fuel to actually drive back to the podium? How close were you guys?
That's a good question. He may have to push it, but I don't know. Hopefully we can use champagne as a good fuel.
There you go. Good job, and good luck at Lime Rock in a couple of weeks.
Thank you.
Chase Briscoe takes the fastest lap in the number 15 car with a 1:24.958. That car with issues for Scott Maxwell that took it out of the fight very, very early on. Now, Dean
Has he run out of fuel, or is he going to do donuts?
I think he's run out of gas on the slowed down lap. He's not going to make it. He's at the runoff area at turn 8, and I don't think he's going to make it back. Meantime, in ST, Nick Galante got the win. Again, reliability issues for the Mini. Under 10 minutes to go for Mark Pombo in that car, the yellow number 52. And it will be the 81 that comes through to take it from 37 Mini in second place. But really, that's such bad luck. Another win, 2 for 2 in the last 2 races for Nick Galante and Devon Jones for Bimmer World Racing. In TCR, Tom Long with, in the end, a comfortable victory after 3 or 4 cars battling for the lead at one stage. Tom Long taking it for Compass 360, or Compass Racing as we should call them now. Britt Casey Jr. doing his part at the start. And what about Stephen Simpson in second? Coming through at the end there, Michael Johnson doing the early stint. Well, there's going to be some very, very happy people on the podium. Shea Adam is making her way down at the moment. You're going to have to wait for the winners for a little while, so that'll give you the chance to have a quick shout. All I can hear on the effects mic are 2-stroke carts buzzing around like an angry swarm of hornets just over to our right-hand side, which is fantastic. And it doesn't matter, but that's how close they were, Jeremy. You said, has he got another mile and a half? He had about 2 miles in it when you said that.
Yeah, hats off again to Dean Martin there and all of the guys at Core Motorsports and Roush Performance. That was judged to perfection. A brilliant drive there by Kyle Marcelli. He managed that perfectly. At the restart, he set some hot laps. Then he just settled into what for him was a comfortable pace. Not the ultimate pace of the car, perhaps, but enough to bring that car home and complete the distance. Great effort. 3rd win of the team of the season for that pairing.
Second place overall. Second place overall in GS. Martin Barkey started the AWA Ford Mustang with Brett Sandberg bringing it home, and it looked like he was managing the fuel as well, but he was able to pick up his pace. But what about Russell and Damien in the 33? Oh, that is going to be such a party tonight. Russell Ward started and was brilliant. It's not that much experience. Damien Faulkner, the man who's been mentoring him, and brings them through to their best result in that Mercedes. And Tom Long is just taking his helmet off. Shea Adam is down there by the number 77. That is going to be a very happy Tom Long. Shea?
Well, Tom, you proved you can win a pole position and win the class in the same day. Congratulations. How good does this feel?
Oh, it feels so good, Shea. I tell you what, those last 20 minutes, that was tough. You know, the car was set up so beautifully. Compass and all the guys did such a great job. Our number 77 Trump Audi was just on rails. But I mean, you hear that saying, you know, you hear every rattle, scrape. You know, wait, was that there? Oh my gosh, you know, it was tough. But the car was on rails, and I'm just so proud of all the boys. And man, what a drive Britt Casey put in there to give us that lead. That yellow was not what we were looking for, but hey, that's racing, and you know, just put your head down and be smart with that tire management. Continental tires held up great at a Canadian Tire Motorsports park.
Well, here's Britt, so you guys get to celebrate. Enjoy tonight.
Yeah, those guys are big smiles, top of the podium.
102nd start for Tom Long in this series, his 10th victory, the 3rd for Britt Casey. All of those wins for Britt coming this season, and finally he converts the pole position into a win, and it's enough to take the championship lead now over Rodrigo Salas and Kuno Whitmer, who finished only 5th today. A 3-point lead now for Tom Long and Britt Casey Jr.
Yeah, that car a little bit off the pace. Kuno Whitmer with the problems earlier on, but they did get that car back out again after the under trail, whatever it was, and I said it would be important that they did that, but they have lost the championship lead, have they?
Indeed, and in fact, in all 3 classes, we've got a new championship leader leaving Canadian Tire Motorsport Park this evening.
Let's talk about ST then.
Yep,
Nick Galante, we'll speak to him in a moment. The 81 BMW, two wins in 2 races.
Yeah, 2 wins, second win of the season. They were second last week. They lost it towards the end to the Mini.
Of course they did,
but that is their second win of the season, and it did enough to move them back into the championship lead. They won the season opener at Daytona, and they now, with the DNF for Mark Pombo, they will move 3 points ahead in the championship by my reckoning as we head next to, what is it, Lime Rock next.
Yes, indeed.
And while we're waiting...
And I think we can get a word with Devin Jones whilst we're waiting for the leaders to come in.
Well, Nick was taking off his helmet. Devin, it was a pole position earlier on and another win. It didn't look like it was going to go your way all day, though. You really had to fight for it. Championship lead coming out of this race. How good does it feel?
Yeah, it feels great to finally get a win. We showed good speed all weekend. We were fast all weekend. These guys really put together a great car. Yeah, and we lost a handle on it a little bit towards the later half of the stint there. It started to get really slick for us. But Nick did a great job hanging in there, keeping the pace on, keeping the pressure on those guys. And we were able to come away with the win. It just feels incredible. I have to thank, Veristor Logistics, everyone who supports this car. And now we want to go get more, so we're excited for Lime Rock.
And you've got the championship lead, so that's a perfect way to do it. Good job today.
Thank you.
Yeah, the 3 winners in class will leave as the 3 championship leaders, and that is a turnaround throughout the weekend. In GS, Jeremy, run us through the numbers.
Yeah, the Nate Stacey, Carl Marcelli, they came in 6 points off the lead in 3rd position, but they will leave with a 6-point edge over James Clay and Tyler Cook in the Bimmerwell BMW that finished in 8th place today. And with that 17th place finish for Dylan McAvern and Spencer Bampelli, a big loss for them. They fall now a distant 3rd in the points.
Yes, Brett Sandberg in 2nd place, Damien Faulkner and
great
Russell
result
Ward
by
in
that
3rd.
pair, by Brett Sandberg and Martin Barkey. That's well deserved. They
Yes,
had the
it
pole
is.
position
Well,
1
second
week
and
ago.
third are both going to be delighted.
Yeah.
I mean, the winners are always delighted, but
Yeah.
second and third have both got something to celebrate, and I think that's really nice. That'll be a
Yeah.
happy, smiley podium there.
Yeah,
won't it?
first podium for the Winward Racing team, and interested to see what happened. There was obviously some sort of contact there at the final corner between Faulkner and Hinman. Wait and see. I wish we'd seen the onboard from that one on the next lap.
I'm sure we'll hear about it at some stage in the near future. Let's get back to Shea Adam, who's down there, down by the podium. See if we can pick up a little more reaction from the drivers that are down there. Shea?
I don't know if there's anybody else we can get because they're going to start the podium ceremonies here in a couple moments, but you guys are absolutely spot on. 2nd, 3rd, everybody who's here is just happy to be here. And keep in mind, 2nd place, Martin Barkey from Huntsville, so that's about 3 hours north of here, so he's got a lot of friends and family here celebrating. Kyle Marcelli, of course, from Barrie, Ontario, just about an hour and a half up the road, so he has a lot of friends and family. It is a massive victory day, and then the Compass Racing crew, they all are from this area as well, so everybody who is on the podium is very, very happy to be there and felt that they earned it.
Yeah, I'll go with that as well. Well, brilliant stuff. Maybe just get a chance to have a quick chat with one of the drivers from the winning car. Our TV colleagues who aren't live at the moment are just doing their interview, so I think Shea might be able to quickly scoot. We had Nate earlier on. He was very happy. I just wondered if we could get a quick word from the Canadian, Kyle Marcelli. I think he's going to be dragged away. So we have heard from all of our winning teams. Shea, thank you very much indeed for your efforts as our Continental Tire pit lane reporter. What a way to wind up Saturday, the first of 2 race days. 2 more races here tomorrow, both live in sound and vision. Jeremy Shaw, John Hindhaugh taking you through the action today for the Canadian Tire Motorsport Part 120. New leaders in all 3 classes in the IMSA Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge, and they did it the best way possible by seeing the checkered flag first in each of their respective classes. There'll be some big parties tonight and some very big headaches tomorrow, I've got no doubt. That was Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge. You can see all of the races and hear them live and uninterrupted throughout the season. We'll be doing it again in a couple of weeks' time at Lime Rock. Imagine that lot at Lime Rock. It's going to be brilliant. Join us then. Thanks to our team here at the track and back in London. The whole of the IMSA Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge season is live on IMSA TV and IMSA Radio. Bye-bye.